What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories.
6AC, Chapter 101, Metamorphosis. Extreme Armed Forces, Absolute Domain. Please subscribe. Advertisement. New World, Cake Island in the Sea of All Nations, and Cake Castle in Bigmom. After waking up, Bigmom is enjoying Charlotte's family's favorite dessert. The sugar requirement engraved in her DNA makes her eat a lot of desserts every meal. Blue blue blue. The phone bug suddenly called out, and Charlotte Linlin's eyes flashed displeasure. She hated being disturbed when she was eating dessert, but she didn't hesitate to interrupt her dessert time to call the bug. It must be a matter of great urgency. When the phone bug was connected, Perot rang tremblingly, "Mom." Hearing the trembling voice of the eldest son, Charlotte Linlin, who was interrupted the dessert time, felt more and more dissatisfied. He was obviously the eldest son, why is it so useless, and can help her share more burdens. Per Ross, you stupid B*****************, don't you know it's mom's dessert time? I know mom, yes, sorry mom. Hearing his mother's angry voice, Perot was even more scared. Speak up, yes. Recalling the earth-shattering battle yesterday, the scenes of Lei Luo hitting Kaido hard with one punch and crushing Dragon's breath. Pei Ross swallowed unconsciously, and Wei reported, "Mom. At Lei Luo's enthronement ceremony yesterday, Kaido of the Beasts came to play." Charlotte Linlin, who was eating something sweet, couldn't help but stop chewing, and asked after a while, "The result? You have been a diplomat for so many years. I don't think you are stupid enough to miss this good opportunity to sell favors to Lei Luo, right?" Charlotte Linlin said as a matter of course. Kaido chose to play Lei Luo during the enthronement ceremony, it is God's help to the Charlotte family. As long as Pei Ross is not caught by the door, he will definitely use her name to save Lei Luo when he loses to Kaido. In this way, he owes the Charlotte family favor. About the tea party, Lei Luo probably won't refuse. As long as Lei Luo comes to Cake Island and sees her lovely and charming 18th daughter Garrett, the marriage will basically be settled. No one can refuse her most charming daughter Jia Lei Te, Lei Luo is no exception. When the time comes to ensure that Lei Luo ascends the throne, the new 4 emperors will be her Charlotte Linlin's son-in-law, which is much stronger and more reliable than the relationship of the so-called Pirate Alliance. With Lei Luo, we can gather the strength of the 2 emperors to subdue that old boy Kaido. When the 3 emperors gather, what is there to fear from the only remaining red-haired Shanks? Even if she can't reach Raftel, the final island, she can still become one piece. Charlotte Linlin imagined this, and the dessert in her mouth became extra sweet and delicious. However, this comfort was completely disillusioned by Ross Perot's trembling words. Mom, I thought so too, but, Lei Luo, he forced Kaido back. Until now, Perot felt that the devastating battle yesterday was like a dream. Even if he experienced it personally, even if the scenes were engraved in his mind, it is still unbelievable. This also makes what he said extraordinarily unassuming. What? Charlotte Linlin stood up suddenly, and even forgot to swallow the dessert in her mouth. Lei Luo forced Kaido back. Are you kidding me? The old boy Kaido is the strongest creature in the sea, land and air. Kaido of the Beasts, who is known as the Immortal, has repeatedly used suicide to show off his powerful force to marine and the world government, and even ate the fish and phantom beast species azure dragon fruit, jumping over the dragon gate and turning into a dragon. Armed color, questioning color, Conqueror's Haki deepens, and its Conqueror's Haki has been taught by Captain Rocks. Even her senior sister has to summon the 3 main bodies of Zeus, Prometheus and Napoleon homies at the same time. Can such a powerful Kaido be repelled by Lei Luo? It's a joke in the world, although Lei Luo's talent is very high, and the momentum that keeps getting stronger is also very fierce, but no matter how high the talent is, no matter how strong the momentum is, it is impossible for him to have the ability to attack in such a short period of time. Back Kaido's strength. What is the concept of repelling Kaido? To put it simply, it is equivalent to Lei Luo, a 14-year-old kid who already has the super strength to face the veteran 4 emperors head-on, and Shen will not be at a disadvantage. If she didn't have absolute confidence in her prestige among her children, she would have thought that Perot failed to complete the task, and made up a very ugly nonsense to trick her. Mom, it's true. I saw it with my own eyes. The queen of the pleasure district Stussy, Morgans, the president of the news agency, and Tanaka, the subordinate of Huang Zhaodi Zoro, all saw it. It is estimated that the newspaper has been printed and sent to all over the world by now. Perot expected that his mother would not believe his words, after all, even he could not believe it. Looking back now, he doesn't even know how he stood on the viewing stand to watch the entire battle yesterday. Hurry up and move out the people who were there yesterday to increase credibility. Charlotte Linlin threw away the dessert in her hand, and was no longer in the mood to enjoy dessert. Such a strong son-in-law is not easy to deal with. But without Lei Luo, her whole plan will come to nothing. What she values is not only Lei Luo's genes that can be passed on to the next generation. When did this happen? Just yesterday. Lei Luo and Kaido fought all day. Before finishing speaking, Charlotte Linlin roared, "Then why did you report now? After playing yesterday, it was very late after the enthronement ceremony, and my son didn't dare to disturb his mother's rest time." Pei Ross Perot said truthfully. There are 2 kinds of man-made disasters that cannot be avoided in the seas of all nations. One is the outbreak of the mother's craving for food, and the other is the mother's sleepwalking. Therefore, The rest of the mother must not be disturbed. Then can you interrupt mommy's dessert time? Charlotte Linlin roared, secretly equating her eldest son with a stupid pig. After a while, Charlotte told Linlin to calm down the anger in her heart, and then asked again, did the invitation arrive? What did Lei Luo say? Advertisement. The invitation was delivered, and Lei Luo didn't refuse or agree. Pei Ross said tremblingly. In fact, he didn't care about Lei Luo's attitude at all. After seeing Lei Luo's formidable strength in repelling Kaido yesterday, how dare he make a fuss at the enthronement ceremony? Even if he represents the entire Charlotte family, with the entire BIGMOM pirates on his back, he still can't afford to make a mistake. That's a horrible guy who even retreated from the undead Kaido of the beasts. Just send the invitation and leave Nessus immediately. Charlotte Linlin took a deep breath. If you don't refuse, it means there is hope. You come back first, so that Dian Dan and Pak Moose can also withdraw. Since Lei Luo was already so tyrannical, it would be useless to have more assassins of the Baron and Pokmas level, and would only lose his combat power in vain. Yes. Peroch Puro hurriedly agreed, and his mother told him to go back quickly, then it was over, and at most he would go to eat a meal of flesh and blood. That's right. How did Lei Luo defeat Kaido? Please tell mom about it. Charlotte and Linlin were unwilling to believe that Lei Luo could defeat Kaido from the beginning to the end. After all, Kaido and her are old acquaintances, and she knows how powerful the other party is. Yes, the thing is like this, when Lei Luo was about to ascend the throne, Kaido fell from the sky and said that Lei Luo had killed him from the beast's pirates, and Kaido fought off the Phoenix Marco one after another. Fire Fist Ace, Hexia Jinbei slapping the door, Shuangui and others, and then Lei Luo went off the field, using a strange arm technique to beat Kaido until he vomited blood. Arm technique. Kaido vomits blood. Charlotte was startled, feeling as if her head exploded. In terms of physical strength, Kaido in human form is only one line behind her, but if he takes the form of a dragon and holds her head steady, what kind of arm skill does Lei Luo use to make Kaido vomit blood? Also, Lei Luo already mastered the weapon technique. Has his Armament Haki reached the level of Garp the Fist? From this point of view, even if she took action herself, she might not be able to stabilize Lei Luo's head. If this son-in-law can't be suppressed, it's better not to. If you can't hold back and forcefully twist it, it's no different from luring a wolf into a house. Charlotte Linlin was thinking like this in her heart, and Ross Perot continued. Yes, Kaido was punched by Lei Luo, and he vomited blood directly. Lei Luo's ghost-eyed Rudolph greatly limited Kaido's ability. Make. What did you say? Charlotte Linlin interrupted the eldest son again, and asked. When Kaido fought with Lei Luo, Devil Fruit's ability was limited. Asked by his mother, Ross Perot felt inexplicably guilty. Yes, mother. Ghost-Eye Rudolph tried his best to limit Kaido's Devil Fruit ability, otherwise. Enough. Charlotte Linlin scolded in a cold voice, and Ross Perot on the other end of the phone fell silent, completely unaware of why her mother suddenly became so angry again. Perot, you idiot, why didn't you tell me the most important information first? After scolding the eldest son, Charlotte and Linlin felt relieved. Just to put it bluntly, no matter how strong Lei Luo is, no matter how talented he is, it is impossible to defeat Kaido directly. It turns out that Kaido's Devil Fruit ability was suppressed. If Devil Fruit's ability is suppressed to death, Kaido's strength will be reduced by at least 40% or more. From this point of view, she can still completely suppress Lei Luo, the son-in-law. However, even if Devil Fruit's ability is suppressed, Kaido's physical body is still extremely powerful, and Lei Luo can fight fiercely with Kaido, who is suppressed by about 40% of his strength for a day at such a young age. It is enough to show his great potential, high talent, and excellent genes. This son-in-law, she is sure to win. If Lei Luo likes women who are older than 100 million points, it's not impossible for her. Okay, you come back first, and prepare the candy for the tea party right away. Yes. As soon as the phone bug hung up, the talking door at the entrance of the bedroom said, Mom, Katakuri is here. Come in. The door of the bedroom possessed by Soul opened without pushing, and Katakuri, dressed in denim, slowly walked in, and respectfully handed over the newspaper. Mom, the latest issue of the newspaper, Lei Luo has already. Okay, Mom already knows, you step back. Yes. Katakuri always took his mother's words as an imperial decree, and simply agreed, and walked out the door. And Charlotte Linlin opened the newspaper and saw Kaido, who was covered in bruises and vomiting blood. Even if she knew about this in advance, Charlotte Linlin couldn't help but be surprised. Kaido is so hurt. Heavy. On the other side, Red Forceman is sailing through the waves on the Sea of Wangyang in New World. Ben Beckman found Shanks on the bow with a newspaper. That kid Lei Luo beat Kaido. And, he has officially ascended the throne and proclaimed himself emperor. What? The red-haired Shanks was startled at first, but quickly calmed down. It is inevitable for Lei Luo to ascend the throne and become emperor, but he beat Kaido. After taking the newspaper and looking at it, Shanks immediately understood. Has Kaido's strength been suppressed by Lei Luo's ghost eye? Ben Beckman nods. Although it wasn't written in the newspaper, with their brains, they could think of it as soon as they thought about it. Although Lei Luo is very strong and extremely talented, but no matter how high he is, it is impossible to catch up with Kaido, who has been famous for a long time. Lei Luo is only 24 years old this year, while Kaido is already 57 years old. The gap of more than 30 years cannot be made up by talent and hard work alone, unless Kaido is not able to give full play at all. Both Shanks and Ben Beckman thought of this the moment they got the newspaper. Ben Beckman pointed to the newspaper in Shanks' hand. After today, Lei Luo's prestige will take another qualitative leap. Also, I've heard that the old woman Charlotte and Linlin sent Lei Luo a tea party invitation. And she intends to betroth a daughter to him. Shanks folded the newspaper casually. Lei Luo is a smart man. He knows how much turmoil the marriage of the two families will cause to this sea, so he won't. Ben Beckman said with a smile. What if he lost his eyes for a moment and couldn't see the situation clearly? The red-haired Shanks had a flash of light in his eyes. Don't we still have us? Just help him see clearly. At the same time, at the edge of the territorial waters of the White Paper Flower Pirates, a warship flying the black pirate flag is slowly approaching. The original seagull sails are painted black, and there is a juxtaposed skull on the flying pirate flag head. Advertisement. It is the Blackbeard Pirates led by Marshal D. Teach. Bullet. I'll send you here. Waiting for your good news. Blackbeard said with a smile on his face, and the fat on his body trembled. On the bow of the warship, Bullet closed the newspaper in his hand, armed scourge. Ah, after this incident, you and I owe nothing. Leaving this sentence behind, Bullet suddenly exerted force on his feet, jumped up in the air, jumped about a nautical mile away, and then began to gradually fall to the sea surface, but at the moment when he was about to hit the water, he stomped his feet violently again. 0. Ask for flowers. Boom. The surface of the sea suddenly exploded, like 1,000 caddies of explosives detonated at the same time, setting off waves more than 10 feet high. And Bullet jumped up again with his strength, jumping to a farther place. Captain, even Kaido of the Beasts is not Lei Luo's opponent. Go Bullet, I'm afraid it's hanging. Dar, the sand crocodile who became Blackbeard's new companion, took a deep breath of his cigar and said. Thief ha ha ha. Blackbeard laughed exaggeratedly, as if everything was as he had expected. Bullet challenged Lei Luo. There are two results, either kill Lei Luo, or be beaten to death by Lei Luo. And this guy, has a cooperative relationship with us. We won't lose anything if he dies. But if he kills Lei Luo, it's like pulling out the thorn in our flesh. Also, while Bullet is challenging Lei Luo, we can grab whatever we want in this sea area. Blackbeard's eyes were full of ferocity and predation. When he saw the news that Lei Luo repelled Kaido of the Beasts, he was really shocked. Revenge seems to be getting further and further away. However, Bullet, the crew member of the former pirate group Roger, is no worse than Kaido who has been restricted in Devil Fruit ability. It would be great if he could get away with killing Lei Luo. Even if he couldn't, refer to the tragic battle between Lei Luo and Kaido. Bullet will also cause great trouble to Lei Luo. It even directly exhausted his terrifying physical strength, causing him to temporarily lose his combat history. The White Paper Flower Pirates lost Lei Luo, the top combat power, and the rest is mermaid garbage. The gang of remnants of the era he gathered is much stronger than Whitebeard's sons. Then, when the battle between Lei Luo and Bullet came to an end, it was the time when the Blackbeard Pirates captured the White Paper Flower Pirates and became the Four Emperors. If Bullet wins against Lei Luo in the end, he can also kill the exhausted Bullet, so as not to worry about the future, and then go to take over Lei Luo's territory. He thought of this plan as early as when he saw Bullet. Otherwise, why would he, who was good at lurking every day, rush to take revenge? 0. On Ness's island, in the lounge on the top floor of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce. Lei Luo was sitting on the bed and dozed off. The tiny man Shueli was holding a glowing dandelion in her small hand. She was pouting her mouth and continuously blowing countless light spots. Lei Luo. Bathed in countless light spots, Lei Luo's bones are crackling, cracked bones, dislocated bones, and bleeding internal organs are being repaired, restored to their original state. Not far away, Karina was reporting to Lei Luo with a long gift list. The Blue Front Pirates presented a piece of Zone Devil Fruit and 2 tons of gold, the Giant Soldier Pirates presented a gift of 5 tons of gold, and the Blood Shark Pirates presented a gift of Liang Kuaisao Tufeng and North Blue. There are 3 newly modified heavy artillery pieces, and the above are all presents from the 12 newly joined vassal regiments. Golden City Tesoro presents a double cruise ship made of pure gold, a copy of the Golden City Annual Dividend Profit Book. Queen of the Pleasure District Stussy presents an underground pleasure industry in the first half of the Grand Line, and a list of bosses in the underground world from southeast to northwest. The Charlotte family presented an island with an area of 1.83 square kilometers in the Sea of Nations, and sent an invitation letter to the tea party in 1 month's time. Karina's voice fell, and Man Shueli's treatment that lasted all night just ended. Lei Luo slowly opened his eyes, and when he clenched his fist, there was a thunderous sound of air explosion, and the injury seemed to have healed. I have to say, Man Shueli's healing fruit is really powerful. This time the injury was far more serious than the first time he fought Old Man Garp, more serious than any previous time, but as long as Man Shueli was there, no matter how serious the injury was, he could recover as before. Thank you Man Shueli, go down and have a good rest, your people should be here in a few days. Lei Luo reached out and poked Man Shueli's little cheek, very loving. Man Shueli, who was tired all night, raised a smile on her haggard little face. It would be great if I can help Lord Lei Luo. After Man Shueli retreated, Lei Luo looked at Karina. Even the island has been sent out, and it's still in the waters of all nations. Aunt Charlotte is really generous. Karina was a little angry. She made it clear that she wants you to marry. Otherwise, how could such precious resources as Heidao be sent out directly? For the Four Emperors group, islands are more precious treasures than gold, silver and jewels. Seeing Karina puffing out her mouth like a puffer fish, Lei Luo laughed a lot. This girl obviously thought too much. Just thinking about being married to the Charlotte family makes him feel chills. Although the aunt is very capable of giving birth, the ones she gives birth to are hardly normal. Others gave birth to children for the sake of reproduction, but she gave birth to the great ideal of giving birth to a country, including all races in the world. Can't be messed with. Then, are you still going to her tea party? Karina asked tentatively. Lei Luo didn't even think about it. Let's talk about it later. Auntie's tea party is known as a tea party in hell that cannot be refused. Now that he is officially sealed as the emperor, the two ghosts who knock on the door are also following the limelight. If they refuse Auntie's invitation, the two ghosts are most likely to be targeted by Charlotte's family. Therefore, when necessary, Wang Guo Haiyu still has to go there, for example, when Bigmom messes with him. And before that, you must seize every moment to improve your strength. I thought that after completing the arm tempering of the torso and limbs, the strength has greatly improved, and there are very few people in this sea who can deal with him, and it was only yesterday. Kaido, who was suppressed by devil fruit and even used the method of disemboweling him in exchange for wounds, almost exhausted his stamina, which is enough to show that he still has a long way to go from the real top powerhouse. Thinking of this, Lei Luo called out the system interface decisively. The 100 that was credited to the account yesterday is familiar and has not had time to use it yet. When Armament Haki is strengthened again, he will be one step closer to the apex of this world. But the moment the system interface was opened, two prompt messages popped up. Open black lens bracket. Congratulations to host for completing the task, successfully ascending the throne and becoming the emperor, and let the world set off a wave of frenzy because of you. Get the task reward, attribute points plus 200 close black lens bracket. It is detected that the host has 300 attribute points remaining unused. The current Armament Haki level is Absolute Defense 709 1,000ths. Using attribute points, Armament Haki will transform to the next level, Extreme Armament Absolute Domain. Soil. Advertisement. Chapter 102. Boundary Breakthrough, Blackbeard and Bullet Strike. Please subscribe. Advertisement. Extreme Arms. Absolute Domain. Brand new Armament Haki Realm. The corner of Lei Luo's mouth raised up unconsciously, his eyes fell on the column of attribute point balance, and he used up all 300 attribute points without hesitation. The system interface suddenly changed. Name. Lei Luo. Age. 24 years old. Strength. Admiral. Armament Haki level. Extreme Armament, Absolute Domain, 9/10,000ths. You have broken through the pinnacle, achieved the ultimate. The road to become stronger is endless. Continue to move towards the new ultimate. Attribute point balance. 0. Armed skill. Hot fist. Gain buff. None. Mission 1. If you want to be the king, defeat Garp the Fist, who is recognized as the strongest Armament Haki owner in the world. Mission reward. Armament skill Mountain Piercing Iron Fist. This mission is a long-term mission. Task 2. Carrying it with you and adapting to the magnetic field of radioactive substances and pure gold will bring continuous improvement to the host, with daily attribute points +1. This task is a daily task. Extreme. Isn't it the peak of Admiral? Lei Luo's expression froze slightly, probably because he directly broke through the 1,000 limit, so he directly surpassed the peak and reached a new field, the ultimate. Above ultimate. Boom. In the next moment, there was a loud and high-pitched dragon roar in the body, as if the sleeping dragon in the body had completely awakened. The wave-like dragons might surged out, one wave after another, as if there was no end. Not far away, Karina's face suddenly turned pale, and she backed away again and again, but she was only intimidated by the remaining power of the strong pressure of Tao Tao, which made her feel the turbulence of chi and blood, and her heart rhythm lost its rhythm, as if it would completely collapse at any time. So strong. Lei Luo, is he breaking new boundaries? 087. The shrewd and capable Karina realized in an instant. Although she doesn't understand Armament Haki's practice, she also knows that master moves, duels to the death, and life and death junctures are all panaceas to make people stronger. Since the fierce battle against Aokiji, Lei Luo has been tyrannical and advancing all the way, fighting Garp and fighting Sengoku. Just yesterday, even the world's strongest creature, the strongest undead Kaido of the beasts by sea, land and air was retreated by his blessing. It is precisely because of constant life and death struggles with real strong men that Lei Luo's strength has grown by leaps and bounds in these short few months, making qualitative leaps continuously. But it was precisely because she realized that she became more and more surprised. She subconsciously covered her mouth with her small white hand, for fear that if she inadvertently yelled, it would affect Lei Luo's breakthrough. A pair of beautiful eyes are full of splendor, there is respect and awe, but more of them are infatuation and love. Karina let out a sigh of relief, gently took away the phone bugs in the lounge and everything that might make noise, exited, closed the door, and sat quietly at the door to guard. And the moment Karina lightly closed the door, Lei Luo in the room was covered by Armament Haki as black as ink and as deep as an abyss, and even the light in the room was obviously dimmed by several degrees. Lei Luo furrowed his brows tightly, and could clearly feel a fiery breath pouring out from the spine, extending upwards along the spine, to the cervical spine, to the back of the skull, to the Tianling cap, until the entire head bones were completely package covered. At this moment, Lei Luo knew clearly that the only part of his skull that could be regarded as a flaw had finally completed the tempering of his arms, and he had truly become a flawless body without flaws, a Vajra body. However, unlike usual, this fiery aura did not dissipate with the completion of the skull tempering, but intensified instead. Like running water from a high mountain, the fiery breath began to seep down from the head, to the neck, to the shoulders, to the chest, to the waist, until it covered the entire body. Finally, the fiery breath completely enveloped his whole body, from the scalp to the tips of the toes. He was completely enveloped in a fiery heat. Even at this point, the fiery breath still hasn't dissipated. In the next second, Lei Luo's complexion changed, his tightly locked brows were completely wrinkled together, showing a look of extra pain. This fiery breath seemed to turn into thousands of worms, continuously and desperately hitting his bones drill in. And the energy and sense of strength all over the body are becoming more and more abundant. If I insist on describing this feeling, it seems that the bones are filled, and the bones are no longer hollow. They have changed from hollow iron to solid steel, as solid as gold, and there is no more ventilation gap. The overflowing power seemed to break through his body and come out. Suddenly, a familiar yet unfamiliar word came out from the depths of Lei Luo's memory: marrow refinement. In my impression, refining the marrow is the same as opening the dragon's spine. It is the concept of Yanwang in memory. Through fine-tuning the body, it will bring about shocking changes. The open dragon spine can flex the spine, so that the reaction nerves are more sensitive and the body interaction is more coordinated. Advertisement. And refining the marrow can strengthen the foundation of the body, and the bone will be as strong as a cow after refining the marrow. A punch of the same strength can only pierce through the wooden board before refining the marrow, but it can collapse the steel after refining the marrow. The physical feedback made Lei Luo guess that he is probably going through such a process now. About 6 hours later, the time came to noon that day. Roar. Lei Luo suddenly opened his mouth, and from his throat burst out a roar like a dragon and a tiger, as bright as thunder. Crack. The roar of the beast rolled up a wave of sound waves, and the vases in the room, the glass on the windows, as long as they were fragile, they were all turned into debris and powder in an instant, and the hot energy that continued to drill into the bones dissipated at this moment. As soon as Lei Luo opened his eyes, 2 lines of text suddenly jumped into his eyes. Congratulations to the host for stepping into the top, trigger and get additional rewards, armed skill, furious thunder and roar. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket thunder and roar. Chi and blood flow to the lungs to gather chi, thinking that Armament Haki strengthens the throat and vocal cords, exhales and opens the voice, making a sound like thunder and roar, bursting out sound waves, instantly stirring the blood, and the movement of the air mechanism collapses, close black lens bracket. Lei Luo didn't even have time to read the system prompts, so he was deeply attracted by the scene in front of him, and felt that the world in front of him became extraordinarily clear. Even sitting on the bed and looking at the desk about 10 meters away, you can clearly see the wood texture on the desk. Looking out through the window, the movements of seabirds flapping their wings hundreds of meters away can be seen very clearly. Needless to say, Armament Haki has carried out a complete transformation of the body. Not only has his own strength made a qualitative leap, but the strength and foundation of the body itself have also undergone a complete nirvana remodeling. Feel the overflowing power. Cool. Lei Luo suddenly let out a sound in a hearty and comfortable way. With a thought, in less than a short time, Armament Haki, which was as black as ink and as deep as an abyss, instantly covered his whole body. He stood up and came to the window. With one fist, he punched out. Boom. Like thunder on a dry day, the atmosphere trembled violently, more violent than hundreds of caddies of explosives exploding at the same time. Lei Luo was satisfied for a while, but what made him even more satisfied was the all-round increase in his physical senses brought about by the Armament Haki upgrade. The 5 senses of sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch have all become more sensitive, especially hearing. Through the excellent sound insulation door panel of the rest room, Karina outside the door can be heard talking with people. Lei Luo simply calmed down, pricked up his ears to listen, and his expression changed slightly. It sounded like Karina was anxious but pretending to be calm. Going straight to the door, the voice became more and more clear, and even the voice of the 16th Division Captain Yizang of the phone bug could be heard clearly. The big sister has a bad head. A tyrannical guy covered in armed clothes rushed into our territorial waters, looking everywhere for the whereabouts of Captain Lei Luo. He has broken through 3 islands. His speed is too fast, and the fleet has no time to organize the blockade. Yizang's intermittent voice came from the phone bug, faintly panicking. No, big sister, isn't this the captain's phone bug? Boss Lei Luo is practicing in closed doors. It's okay. Don't panic. Where is that guy now? As the second in command of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce and Lei Luo's work and life secretary, even though she was anxious, Lena was still able to remain calm and rational. Yizang on the other end of the phone paused for a while, probably to inquire about the situation. After a while, a voice rang out. He is approaching Swain Island at a very fast speed. After Swain Island, there is Kanya Island. Please tell Captain Lei Luo that this man's armor is extremely strong, he can jump forward on the sea surface, at least 1 nautical mile at a time, but this guy should be demon fruit power, he dare not directly touch the sea water. That guy is wrapped in a strange and miserable blue Armament Haki, suspected to be the demon air bullet mentioned in the newspaper. Yizang is worthy of being the intelligence officer and liaison officer under Whitebeard in the past, and he roughly found out the other party's details in just a short while. Bullet. That demon air, Douglas Bullet. The crew of the original One Piece Roger. The one that Blackbeard robbed from the great deep sea prison of Impel Down. Doesn't this mean that the Blackbeard pirates are in the White Paper Flower territory? Damn bastards, you really pick your time. Today is the first day of Lei Luo's official ascension to the throne. Karina suppressed the anxiety and panic in her heart, and pondered for a while. Okay, tell the people on the island to evacuate, and then all the brothers on the island will also retreat to the hinterland of the territorial sea, let him in, surround him in a roundabout way, and close the door to fight. Quote. Then, the 15 captains including you will establish a defensive line in the hinterland of the territorial waters, and I will send the twin ghosts to support them as quickly as possible. Yes, Yi Zhang agreed without hesitation. Although according to the establishment, he, the captain of the White Paper Flower Pirates, does not belong to Karina, the second in command of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce, but Karina's most terrifying identity is not the second in command of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce, but Lei Luo's woman, Wang's woman. Moreover, the woman who can be appointed as the vice president of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce by Captain Lei Luo, can have a simple mind. When the Whitebeard pirates were still around, Yi Zhang was also the liaison officer to contact the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce. It is no exaggeration to say that apart from Lei Luo, he knows how smart and capable Karina is. Advertisement. Squeak. The phone bug had just hung up, and when Karina was about to call the double ghosts, the door of the lounge creaked open. When Karina turned her head, Lei Luo's tall and burly figure came into view. Karina unconsciously covered her mouth with her little hand, but forgot to cover her trembling beautiful eyes. The breath on Luo became so strong. It's no exaggeration to say that Lei Luo Shenshin's aura was more than 10 times stronger than before she came out. Although she doesn't know how to practice, she can clearly feel the terrifying aura emanating from Lei Luo's body. It can be felt that Lei Luo has deliberately restrained himself, but the terrifying and tyrannical spirit still leaks out from time to time, which makes people feel even more palpitating and unpredictable. The aura and vigor are so overbearing. Has he already accomplished the boundary breaking? Looking at Lei Luo behind her, Karina felt an inexplicable sense of confidence and security in her heart, as if as long as she by his side, even if the sky falls, it doesn't matter. There was a smile on the corner of Lei Luo's mouth, and he stretched out his hand to rub Karina's purple-haired little head. Thank you for your hard work. Have a good rest. Karina nodded. She was extraordinarily well behaved. Her shrewdness and ability were all driven by Lei Luo's life. If she could, she would be willing to be Lei Luo's little girl forever. Lei Luo turned around and changed into a dark suit, and jumped out of the window. He heard almost everything Karina and Yi Zhang said. Douglas Bullet. In the original Mania of Pirates, the one who crushed Luffy with Conqueror's Haki, developed the abilities of Armament Haki and Devil Fruit to Ultimate, Forced Sabo, Hancock, Luo, Smoker. The guy who waits until someone has to join forces to deal with it. It's true that someone will give you a pillow when you're sleepy. I've just been promoted to Armament Haki, and I happened to meet this guy who was rumored to be equal to Pluton Rayleigh. Seeing Lei Luo go, Karina felt relieved and at the same time picked up the phone and called the 12 members of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce. Sharp B, immediately monitor the entire White Paper Flower Sea area and find the Black Who. The whereabouts of the Sun Pirates will be reported immediately. Quote. Compared with the little girl around Lei Luo, she would rather be a good wife who can help Lei Luo all the time. Yes, at the same time, Snow made an island in the territorial waters of White Paper Flower. One of the emperors, hey, Kaido of the Beasts is also old. It's ridiculous. A wicked smile appeared on the corner of Bullet's mouth. Armed natural disaster. Lei Luo. The world of the sea is truly amazing. In such a short period of time, a little doll can become the new fourth. Doma coughed violently. Captain Lei Luo will not let you go. When Doma's monkey saw its owner being beaten, it immediately rushed to bite. However, it didn't even have a chance to get close, and was kicked away by the miserable blue figure. The ghastly blue figure holding Doma's neck with one hand showed a ferocious face, as if Doma would break his neck immediately if he didn't cooperate. Shouting and falling to the ground. Whoop. Doma's face turned pale for a while, and he was almost out of breath. Dare to make trouble with the White Paper Flower Pirates. Leave your name if you are capable. Yes, this person is the devil heir Douglas Bullet who has reached a cooperation with Blackbeard. The miserable blue covering his body is a special armament Haki that has been tempered to ultimate. It looks like a ghost crawling out of the depths of hell. On the sea far away. On a warship with black sails, the Blackbeard thief laughed haha. That's right, Bullet, that's it, just be a little more arrogant. We'll have a bloody battle with this Kaido. As if he didn't hear Doma's words at all, Bullet raised his head and looked into the distance. In that direction, it seems that there is a tyrannical aura approaching faintly. A miserable figure of blue is picking up Doma 4.5, the captain of the Ranger Pirates, a vassal group of the White Paper Flower Pirates, with one hand. The miserable figure of blue has blood-red eyes. Cough cough cough. Enough species. The man threw Doma casually. Douglas. Bullet. Tell me, where is your boss Lei Luo, or, you can choose to take me to him. The weight of the new emperor for a day, it is best to let him die of serious injuries, you will both lose, thief ha ha ha. Advertisement. Chapter 103. Is this the extent of the remnants of the old era? Please subscribe. Advertisement. Hey Captain Teach, I said, that little Lei Luo is really so powerful. The Crescent Moon hunter Katarina Deepone asked sullenly. The old and hoarse female voice was like a steel ball scraping the bottom of a pot, and the irony on her face was not concealed at all. Rather than mocking that Lei Luo who had never met before, it would be better to say that he was mocking the Blackbeard Teach captain who was frightened by Lei Luo in front of him. Being imprisoned together in the impelled-down submarine prison for so many years, Bullet's strength and the others could not be more clear. Armament Haki has already been tempered to the peak. In the face of that Kaido of the beasts, Bullet may not be able to defeat Kaido if both sides use Devil Fruit, but if the Devil Fruit is not counted and only physical head-to-head, the possibility of Bullet completely defeating Kaido is at least 70%. After all, when they were imprisoned in the deep-sea prison, that Kaido of the beasts was still a young man. Speaking of Lei Luo, Blackbeard's heart throbbed violently, and he touched his chest almost subconsciously. There was a dull pain in the wound that had healed as before, and the scene of his heart being smashed by Lei Luo's punch kept flashing before his eyes. The fear and dread in his heart intensified. However, as a captain, you can't lose face in front of the crew. Blackbeard tried his best to conceal the turbulent emotions in his heart, and said with emotion, "Armed natural disaster Lei Luo, that is a real terrorist OBJ who developed Armament Haki to ultimate." Really? Hiccup. The big barrel Basque chote burped heavily, and said drunkenly, "I have stayed in the deep-sea prison for too long, and this sea hiccups, so many rising stars have emerged what?" Hearing what Captain Teach said, this drunkard really wants to challenge the new emperor. How about, "Give me permission to attack, Captain Teach." Basker Choate didn't know if he was really drunk, or if he deliberately prolonged the end of his speech. The contempt and sarcasm were self-evident. No. Blackbeard Teach's expression was unprecedentedly serious. "It's okay to attack if you want to, but we have to look at Bullet's situation first. Lei Luo just had a bloody battle with Kaido of the Beasts in 04 yesterday. It stands to reason that this is the time when he is weak, and he can attack with the strength of the entire Blackbeard pirate group. But there are too many unbelievable facts that this guy Lei Luo has made. Fight against Aokiji, Garp, and Sengoku, the two marines who are alive legendary, and even repel Kaido of the Beasts. Facing such a monster-level existence, Blackbeard dare not bet, and can't afford to bet. He doesn't want to be killed again. Tricking Bullet to deal with Lei Luo is not only holding the idea of making both of them lose, and he is reaping the benefits of the fisherman, but also is based on the idea of first exploring Lei Luo's reality. If Lei Luo is true, then wait for him and Bullet to lose each other, and if it doesn't work, he will be exhausted first. If Lei Luo is false, then it will be easier. Wait for Bullet to kill Lei Luo first, and then give an order to capture and kill Bullet. Father Whitebeard's sons are not the opponents of his gang of old-time remnants. In this way, ascending the throne and conferring the title of emperor will be as easy as pie. Blackbeard picked up the newspaper and threw it to the big wine barrel. Look. Even the Kaido of the Beasts was repelled by Lei Luo. How confident are you against Lei Luo who is at full strength? Katarina Dupont snorted coldly. HMPH. Newspapers have never had much credibility. Yesterday, all his pirates were there, and only Kaido, the guy with a brain full of muscles, would go straight to the field. In my opinion, Lei Luo must be attacking Kaido. Morgans that didn't the guy also attend Lei Luo's enthronement ceremony. It's reasonable to be bribed to write something to cheer him on. Even if she told the truth, she didn't believe that a kid in his early 20s could directly repel an old 4 emperors and fight bloody for a day. Who are you kidding? Is Kaido's indefatigable stamina just for show? Even if this Lei Luo is really talented in the cultivation of armament haki, how can he be so strong at the age of 24? Also repel Kaido. It's just so shameless. I don't know what to say. Blackbeard looked angrily at Sand Crocodile Lockdoll and Heavenly Yaksha Doflamingo who were not far away. These two have suffered from Lei Luo's hands. You can ask them if you don't believe me. Doflamingo. Woo. The Sand Crocodile Lockdoll took a long breath of smoke. At that time, Lei Luo hadn't jumped from the dark to the bright, and he was just the president of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce. Even if it was just that, he was already strong. Immeasurable. If I hadn't been wiped out by Lei Luo and fought against him again, I would not have lost to third-rate pirates like Straw Hats. There was a flash of resentment in Lockdoll's eyes, obviously blaming Lei Luo for all the failures. And the truth is true, a kid who just debuted and didn't even master hockey, can beat him to the ground with water on his back. What are you kidding? Katarina Dupont shook her head. Crocodile brat, it means you are weak, but it doesn't mean he is strong. Lockdoll shut up with an offended look on his face. Blackbeard put a needle in and said, in short, before finding out what is true about Lei Luo, no one can make a move. Yes, my boat, long, advertisement. Katarina Dupont and the big wine barrel looked at each other, and they both saw deep disdain in each other's eyes. Captain, that guy Bullet is moving forward again, said Shiryu Amamori, chief of staff of the pirates, putting down the binoculars. Thief ha ha ha, have you wiped out another island so quickly? You are indeed the heir of the devil, Bullet. The Blackbeard thief laughed, everything was going in the direction he expected. Moria, follow up and keep a safe distance. Good Captain Teach. Moria snapped her fingers, and the tireless zombie soldiers immediately began to drive the warship forward at a constant speed. At the same time, Bullet, who was jumping forward rapidly on the sea, focused his eyes sharply, focusing on the far end where the sea and the sky meet. A small black spot in the field of vision is zooming in at an extremely fast speed. And the opponent's way of advancing on the sea, is it the same as him? It turned out that it also used the terrifying power of its legs to step on the sea surface in an instant, and leapt quickly with the help of the explosive reverse thrust. Moreover, it seems that there is a safe on the shoulder. Is that an armed natural disaster? Hey, it's interesting. The corners of Bullet's mouth twitched with joy. This armed scourge can ride the waves with a heavy load, which is enough to show that he has some accomplishments in armament haki. Maybe he is an interesting prey. 010305104 Philu 103,553,001. However, if the new emperor only has this level, hey, Then he has reserved the position of 4 emperors of the New World. Focus on the looming small island in the front left, let's make it a battlefield. Boom. Bullet stepped heavily on the waves, and his speed suddenly increased. A few minutes later, on Kanya Island, Lei Luo arrived first, and looked at the burly figure rushing in the distance. As that bullet, the heir of the devil. He can also ride waves. It won't be the guy who needs the cooperation of Fire Dragon Sabo, White Hunter Smoker, Pirate Queen Boa Hancock and others in the original book to barely deal with it. It seems that Armament Haki has a good set. It's a good sandbag. If it hadn't been for the news from Karina that Zephyr and Kizaru had led the team to the trade, causing him to turn back and take a lot of time to get the Seastone safe where Akainu and the T-Fish were imprisoned, he would probably be able to go directly to Snow Maiden Island at his speed. Block the bullet. For the sake of gold, I simply did the two things together. Marine can also be used as a touchstone to test his extreme weapons. Boom. Suddenly, there was a thunderous cracking sound, and the entire Kanya Island trembled violently. The ground shook and the mountains shook. Bullet landed steadily on the coast, looking at the road not far away that was earlier than him. Figure. Wearing a neat lacquered black suit, the only decoration on the whole body is the handmade white paper flower on the chest, and the slightly curly natural curly hair is neatly combed behind the head. Just standing there, the powerful aura that overflowed from a body that was obviously half a head shorter than him actually made him feel a little depressed. Wait, that guy is carrying a Seastone. As a demon fruit power, Bullet is very sensitive to the special magnetic field of Seastone. But hey, the strength of his punch is enough to smash this kind of thing into pieces. He arrived first but didn't take advantage of the moment I landed to launch a sneak attack. He's an upright guy, but he's also a stupid pig. The battle between pirates is all-consuming. He wasted a good opportunity. Can such a simple-minded guy become 4 emperors? Or was that guy Whitebeard's dying self-declared heir? Hey, it seems that this throne does not have much gold content. After all, Whitebeard has reached the age of old eyesight, but that guy Whitebeard has always been naive, otherwise how could he form such a ridiculous pirate family? Armed Scourge. Your name is Bullet. The voices of the two sounded almost at the same time. The difference is that Bullet's voice is mingled with a hint of vigilance. It is said that a lion needs all his strength to fight a rabbit. Even in the face of third-rate pirates, he will attack with all his strength and never underestimate any opponent. And Lei Luo is indifferent. Seeing Lei Luo's indifferent face, the anger in Bullet's heart was aroused in an instant. UB**************. D. With a fist clenched, Armament Haki, who was covered in blue all over his body, suddenly faded away. No, it should be said that he gathered on his right arm at an extremely fast speed, and the oppressive aura quickly spread, like a transparent cover for blue. The aura surged towards Lei Luo. When you meet someone who is stronger than you and older than you should call him senior. Didn't Whitebeard teach you that? Boom. The moment the voice sounded, Bullet's fist exploded at the same time as that miserable blue's aura enveloped him, and he hit Lei Luo in an instant. The corner of Lei Luo's mouth curved slightly. Conqueror's Haki. Advertisement. Judging from the degree of realization, there is still a big gap between this guy and Kaido of the Beasts. Slowly suppressing the churning Armament Haki in his body, Lei Luo held the safe in one hand, and at the same time retracted his arm at lightning speed, and the fist that did not cover Armament Haki lightly bombarded out. Arrogance. Seeing that Armament Haki was not covered on Lei Luo's fist, Bullet couldn't help but see a layer of anger, but more of it was disdain and ridicule. Dare to take Lousy's fist without using it. Too big. Bullet seemed to have seen the tragic scene of Lei Luo being smashed into half of his body by his punch. Boom. Between lightning and flint, the two fists collided suddenly, and with a short and dull sound, Bullet stepped back several steps in a row. On the other hand, Lei Luo remained motionless like a mountain that had never moved from ancient times, even the seastone box on his shoulders never shook, and the ground under his feet never splashed a little bit of smoke and dust. Having suffered a severe loss, Bullet's square face was instantly filled with astonishment. Staring in disbelief, the miserable blue on his right arm faded instantly, his 5 fingers trembled slightly, obviously not as flexible as before. 1. This is impossible. How so? Feelings of astonishment and shock swept through his body uncontrollably. This guy is so strong. Even without using Armament Haki, he broke my armament color enhancement. The most terrible thing is that he not only covered Armament Haki in that blow just now, but also used the Conqueror's covering learned from Roger. With the blessing of double Haki, Yuan will be punched back by this guy. And this guy is carrying a heavy load. Simply incredible. Is it true that this guy isn't afraid of conquerors, as Teach claims? No, it's impossible, absolutely impossible. 170 lives without Conqueror's Haki are lower than those with Conqueror's Haki. It is absolutely impossible not to be affected. As the crew of the former One Piece Roger, Bullet is very clear about Conquerors. Even if people without Conqueror's Haki can be immune to Conqueror's influence to a certain extent, it is only to a certain extent. Complete immunity to Conqueror's Haki, not even Garp the Fist chasing Captain Roger all over the world. Lei Luo's voice was full of jokes. Demon Air, Douglas Bullet, who used to be a crew member of One Piece Roger, you don't know how to do this. I was excited for a while when I learned that you came to sweep my place. It seems that I was looking forward to it in vain. That's the extent of the remnants of the old era. Lei Luo's words were full of jokes, but there was a hint of shock and satisfaction hidden in his eyes. It wasn't that he shocked Bullet, but that he didn't expect his body to be so perverted after completing the tempering and marrow refining of the whole body. When he was eating and drinking in the Boeing Islands, he completed the skin strengthening, and now he has completed the whole body bone tempering and marrow refinement. Even if he doesn't use Armament Haki, can he still take Bullet's angry blow? And unexpectedly, the upgrade of Armament Haki not only brought about the strengthening of the bones and marrow of the whole body, but even the muscles of the whole body were subtly upgraded, possessing some unknown self-defense ability. The moment he was fisting with Bullet just now, Lei Luo clearly felt a slight tremor in the muscles on his arm, which in turn caused the muscles in his whole body to tremble slightly, removing most of the force of Bullet's heavy punch. That's why he took Bullet's punch head on and remained motionless. As soon as Lei Luo clenched his fist, Armament Haki, which was as black as ink and as deep as an abyss, instantly covered his right arm. This pure darkness seemed to be able to swallow everything, and the surrounding light dropped several degrees because of this. Looking at the extremely dark and deep conquerors on Lei Luo's arm, Bullet was shocked again. It's so deep. Lei Luo said with a thunderous laugh. Do your best, Bullet, or you won't have a chance. Stop looking down on people. B****************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** from his body, the light was like worms, fell to the ground and squirmed quickly, the sand and soil on the ground quickly gathered, and turned into a statue about 10 meters high. Huge natives. In the next second, Bullet had a thought, and Miserable Blue's alternative Armament Haki surged out, and the giant native instantly turned into a miserable blue native. Then as you wish, Lousy is a fit person who ate the fruit of the fit, and everything he touches is for my use. How do you resist this punch? With a roar like thunder, a huge fist with a diameter of 3 meters fell down on Lei Luo. On the sea surface far away, on the deck of a warship with black sails, the corner of the mouth of Xuanyu hunter Katarina Deepone twitched a hideous arc. Hey, you've done too much, Bullet. The other party is just a brat in his early 20s. Advertisement. Chapter 104. The remnants of the old era are shocked. Black Arm Zephyr enters forcefully. Please subscribe. Advertisement. Katarina Dapin grinned grinningly, and the big wine barrel and the villainous king not far away also showed disdain. It's just a battle with almost no suspense. I really don't know what their Captain Teach is worried about. The villainous king of Avalo Pizarro looked at Blackbeard Teach with undisguised contempt in his eyes. Even this kind of kid was afraid. The position of this captain might as well be taken by the villainous king. But in the next second, the three remnants of the old era were stunned for a moment. On the island, Lan's fist smashed down on Lei Luo's head, like a mountain pressing down on the top, falling down overwhelmingly. Bullet's wild and arrogant voice can be heard even a mile away. How do you resist this punch? Lei Luo still stood there calmly, as if he had transformed into an unconquerable mountain that had remained motionless since ancient times. This blow that came from the sky, like a mountain pressing down on the top, could not even make him. He raised his eyelids. Lei Luo raised his arm without haste, and threw out a straight punch with his dark and deep arm. As if he had calculated the timing of the giant blue fist's fall, the moment when the straight fist hit was not a moment earlier, not a second later, and it happened to meet Bullet's huge fist. Boom. Fists and fists collided, and the sound of collision was heard like 1,000 caddies of explosives exploding. The aftermath of the collision shook the surrounding air and turned into waves of powerful air waves that set off a dozen Zhonghai waves on the sea. Spray. The complexion of Bullet, who was still wild and arrogant in the last second, changed visibly with the naked eye. The arrogant and unrestrained expression completely froze on his face. He was obviously in the middle of a battle, but his brain seemed to go blank for a moment. How come? This is impossible, absolutely impossible. A strong sense of astonishment and inconceivability swept through the whole body. As far as he could see, Lei Luo still stood firmly, not even moving the sea stone safe on his shoulders. This is a violent impact that even Yu Wei is enough to set off a wave of more than 10 feet. In the past, when he used this move, even if the opponent resisted with Armament Haki, he would be smashed into the soil deeply. But Lei Luo, the ground under this guy's feet didn't even stir up a trace of dust and debris. This feeling is as if he, the armed scourge Lei Luo, is absolutely dominating this space. Is this all your strength? Bullet, everything you touch is for your use. Your power is not limited to this level, is it? There was a sneer at the corner of Lei Luo's mouth, and his arms were pulled back an inch, just within the distance of an inch, and the second charge was completed silently. Bullet didn't even notice it. The next moment, the retracted fist blasted out again. The air in the entire area seemed to tremble, and the tyrannical impact as strong as a 10th level gale erupted outrageously. In just a split second, Bullet's combined incarnation of earth and rocks, the Titan, shattered loudly, without even the process of shattering, it directly turned into floating soil, sand and stones, driven by the powerful air waves, and splashed far away in a diffuse manner. Bullet was stunned at first. He didn't understand what happened just now. He was just in a daze for a moment, and the earth and stone Titan he combined and changed suddenly turned into a pile of debris. Immediately afterwards, an uncontrollable sense of fear swept through the whole body. What did that guy do? On the black sail warship far away. Slap. The jug in the hand of the big wine barrel Basque Chote fell on the deck, his hands and feet were stiff, and his sober and mocking expression was completely replaced by horror. It's unbelievable. Bullet's Earthstone Titan was defeated in an instant. And at the moment when Bullet punched Lei Luo's fist, it seemed that there was an invisible shock force that instantly shook the rock Titan condensed by Bullet Devil Fruit to pieces. The big barrel Basque Chote looked at Katarina Dupont and the evil king not far away. The three of them looked at each other, and they could clearly see a deep sense of horror in the eyes of the opposite party. Did you see that kid throw a punch. The Wicked King nodded stiffly. In fact, only barely saw the first punch. With such a long distance, they couldn't even see Lei Luo's second charged heavy attack from an inch away. It looked more like a casual punch from Lei Luo, which easily shattered Bullet's powerful attack. Advertisement. Bullet's fusion fruit can turn the things it touches into its own use. After covering Armament Haki, it is even more solid. One punch and shattered. Is this kid really so strong? I'm afraid it is. Being able to defeat Bullet's combined fruit plus armament enhancement is enough to show that the Armament Haki armed with natural disasters is stronger than Bullet, and breaking Bullet so easily can only show he is stronger than Lead, much stronger. The voice of the villainous King Avalo Pizarro trembled a little, as if it was extremely difficult to admit something he was least willing to admit. Perhaps it has become so strong that we can't imagine. It took a long time for the big wine barrel to hold back such a sentence, and it seems to understand why Captain Teach is so cowardly. In the corner of the deck, the sand crocodile Lock Doll trembled unconsciously. This scene is so familiar. He was crushed by Lei Luo's punch like this, and it was in the desert battlefield that he is best at. The sand that can absorb the moisture of the human body can't break Lei Luo's defense at all. Even if he is buried in the ground, this guy can come out in less than 10 minutes, and at that time, Luo is far from being as tough as he is now. Doflamingo shrank his neck unconsciously, looking at the earth and stone titan crushed under Lei Luo's punch. His heart seemed to be grasped by a pair of invisible hands, and it was tightened instantly. The scene of Luo being knocked out with one punch kept flashing before his eyes. It's hard to imagine. In just a few months, Lei Luo has become so strong. Against the former Lei Luo, he could still fight fiercely, but if it is the current Lei Luo, he might be unable to catch a single punch. Hatred and aggrieved emotions kept surging in his heart, and Doflamingo's face was particularly gloomy. In order to avenge Lei Luo, he paid special attention to training the flexibility of his feet when he was in the deep-sea prison. Now without the restraint of sea stone, even if he lost his hands, he can use his feet to display the ability of string fruit. Moreover, it is more mysterious, more flexible and changeable than when it was used by hand, and even deduced a series of combat methods against Lei Luo. This also made him overwhelmed with self-confidence. As long as he is given a chance to leave the deep-sea prison, he will definitely be able to kill Lei Luo and avenge his shame. Therefore, he boarded Blackbeard's ship without hesitation, and pledged his allegiance to this lowly untouchable. But it wasn't until just now that he suddenly discovered that although he had made rapid progress in the past few months, Lei Luo's strength improvement was even more rapid. This matter of revenge has become as far away as a dream. Suddenly, there were waves on the surface of the sea, because the sea seemed to shake violently. Everyone looked up and saw that the small island in the far distance was changing like heaven and earth. The azure blue light had already covered the entire island without knowing it. The topography of the island was changing at a speed visible to the naked eye. The turbulence turned into layers of water curtains, sending the trembling waves to the far side. Seeing this scene, Katarina Depone and the others couldn't help feeling relieved, and the evil government king even had a smile on his face. Really, I was really bluffed by that brat's punch just now. Bullet is going to get serious. The big wine barrel on the side nodded approvingly. Bullet has not only developed Armament Haki to ultimate, but its own Conqueror's Haki and Devil Fruit abilities are also extremely strong. Hiccup. I think everyone has not forgotten the tens of feet tall composite titan when the Roger pirates fought the Whitebeard pirates. Ha 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 ha. That's right, it's Bullet's strongest killing move, using the power of the combined fruit to ultimate, and the combined titan with the dual blessing of armed color and Conqueror's Haki. Just now I suffered a small loss from each other's plan. That's all. Crescent Moon Hunter Katarina Depone echoed. Perhaps she didn't even realize that her hand had unconsciously rested on the side of the warship, and the side of the ship was shattered with fine cracks, and her fingers were slightly embedded in it. Ship's side. Obviously, she still couldn't get over the shocking scene just now, and she didn't have full confidence in Bullet, but she just stubbornly refused to believe that a kid in his early 20s already had the strength to easily crush the remnants of the old era and the heirs of Demon Stop. At the same time, on the far side of the sea on the other side of Kanya Island, a huge warship with the flag of the Seagull of Justice is slowly moving forward. On the deck, the black-armed Zephyr with purple hair, triangular sunglasses, and built-in arms has a gloomy face that drips water. The dignified Marine actually wants to trade with pirates. The purpose of the transaction is to exchange 300 tons of gold for a Marine admiral and a backup admiral from the pirates. It's such a big joke, I can't understand what those people above have in their minds. What is even more absurd is that the trade that nailed Marine to the pillar of shame was actually led by him, the former admiral. It is said that he is the famous, don't kill, admiral in the sea. From becoming admiral until he retired to the second line, he has never killed a single pirate. Such a person goes to trade, which can better represent the sincerity of Marine. Both Marine and pirates, you can rest assured. Shame, John House. And the reason for all of this is because of the two wastes, Akainu and T-Dolphin. When they are snatched back, they must be taught a good lesson and return to the furnace, so as not to go out and embarrass Black-Armed Zephyr again. As for the armed scourge Lei Luo, the reputation is loud. Although the old brother Garp is the world's Armament Haki's benchmark of combat power, the first person, but back in the day, he reached the realm of bone tempering earlier than Garp, and the name of Black-Armed Zephyr resounded across the sea earlier than Garp the Fist. If it wasn't for lack of talent, and because of the departure of his family, he had been abandoned for a long time. How could Armament Haki be the first person to get Garp? Therefore, In terms of understanding of armament haki, no one knows better than him. When Garp started refining bones, he even asked him for advice. Lei Luo, the armed natural disaster, is just a kid in his early 20s. Even if he started to practice armament haki from the womb, he has only practiced it for more than 20 years. No matter how talented he is, it is impossible to catch up with them at this age, the strong of the older generation. Advertisement. In the battle with the Whitebeard pirates, he was suppressed to death by Garp and Sengoku. How strong could he be? Backquote. Teacher, in front of you is Kanya Island, where you agreed to trade with the pirates. Ain, wearing a cloak of justice, reported on Kionway. However, it seems that there is a fierce battle on the island. Zephyr nodded. In fact, even if Ain didn't report the huge movement like a tsunami in the distance, he still saw it. It's probably the pirates fighting. Ain, according to the original plan, the boat will be moored here. According to the previous plan, you, Bins, me and Pelusolino will go to the island first, and let them wait for my signal to shell at any time. Zephyr commanded. Trade with pirates. Oh, absolutely impossible, this has touched Marine's bottom line. Although 300 tons of gold were placed in the cabin of the warship, he is ready to fight a tough battle. He is not here to replace people, but to rob people. He led the team for this transaction, and students Kizaru Pelusolino, Ain and Bins accompanied him as lieutenants. Even if the ghost eyes of Lei Luo's subordinates have strange abilities and can restrain an admiral, so what? In is a regressive person after eating the regressive fruit. Once she is affected by her ability, everything such as age and cultivation will be regressed by 12 years. Even if Lei Luo's armament haki is really powerful, so what? Going back 12 years, how much cultivation can the 2-year-old Lei Luo have left? Yes, In promised and immediately went down to prepare. Almost at the same time, a flash of gold suddenly blocked Ain's way. The golden light dissipated, revealing the figure of Kizaru Pelusolino. Want to fight the pirates? Teacher Zephyr. That's not the order I received. Zephyr's face sank. You just need to carry out my orders. Now, although you are the current admiral, Zhao, I am the supreme commander of this mission. Don't forget who taught you. In front of Laozi, you only have to listen. Kizaru shrugged noncommittally. He was indeed taught by Zephyr. Naturally, but teacher, you'd better read this newspaper. It's just faxed from the headquarters. It's the latest issue today. Kizaru handed over the newspaper in his hand. Zephyr took a look, and the eyeballs under the triangular glasses stared out immediately, and said incredulously, the armed natural disaster Lei Luo ascended the throne and repelled the Kaido of the beasts. Kizaru answered irrelevantly. So, let's follow the orders from above. Lei Luo is already so strong, so don't make extra troubles, or something will go wrong. Who will bear the responsibility? Zephyr folded the newspaper in his hand, his expression suddenly changed. Did Laozi teach you that way back then? After scolding, Zephyr's chest heaved up and down for a while, and finally took half a step back. The order is to stop the ship here, and until the situation on the island is clear, everyone must not act rashly and wait for instructions. Yes, In promised and immediately carried out the order. At this time, on Kanya Island, a composite titan with a height of several tens of feet composed of soil, sand, stones, and trees slowly took shape. Under the double blessing of Armament Haki and Conqueror's Haki, the combined titan presents a depressing iron gray all over. The huge Kanya Island is like a tiny place under his feet. And Lei Luo is like a small ant in a tiny place. Stop looking down on people. This is the full strength of Laozi. If you have the ability, come and watch. Lei Luo didn't seem to hear Bullet's roar at all, and only focused on a line of small words in front of him. Mission reminder. How can the king's territory allow small crimes? Defeat Douglas Bullet in its heyday. Mission reward, attribute point plus 505. Advertisement. Chapter 105. 3 punches explode. Subdue Bullet, please subscribe. Advertisement. Bullet, who is incarnated into a titan, is taller than the titans, and even comparable to the little Aussie of the demon race. Just standing there, the huge figure can block the sky. The iron-gray body gives people a strong sense of visual oppression, just looking at it feels depressing. The overwhelming Conqueror's Haki not only covered the huge body, but also overflowed continuously, spreading rapidly in all directions like surging waves. This is the full strength of Laozi. If you have the ability, come and watch. Roaring words sounded, and Bullet's huge fist with a diameter of more than 10 meters also fell down at an extremely fast speed. In just a moment, the entire Kanya Island was shrouded in a huge shadow. There was a look of disdain in Lei Luo's eyes, but more of it was disappointment. All strength, is that all? As soon as he thought about it, the fearless and powerful aura burst out, and the powerful Armament Haki, which was as black as ink and as deep as an abyss, surged out and blessed his right arm. The fist that Bullet blatantly slammed was visible to the naked eye, his face twisted suddenly, and the bloodshot scarlet eyes were filled with uncontrollable astonishment and shock. This guy's aura is so powerful. Although I noticed that this armed natural disaster had restrained his aura as soon as we met, he never expected that the aura hidden to Fang Yin would be so powerful and terrifying. No, this can no longer be described as powerful. It has reached the point of being frighteningly frightening. It's just a burst of aura, which makes him, the owner of the Conqueror's Haki, stunned for a while. If it is replaced by a turbulent aura. Hiss. Bullet didn't dare to think about it at all, and he didn't realize what kind of monster he was fighting until now. The person without Conqueror's Haki makes the person who owns Conqueror's Haki feel trembling, and he is timid before fighting. In the past, he never believed it, and never thought about it. This doesn't match his common sense. In a trance, the words that the old Captain Gall D. Roger once said to him faintly echoed in his mind. Douglas, Conqueror's Haki is not invincible, the strongest force in this world has never been Conqueror's. Boom. Just at this moment, Lei Luo clenched his fist violently, a thunderous sonic boom sounded, and the air around his fist twisted violently, as if he had been frightened into wrinkles. And this thunderous sound also woke up Bullet, who was in a trance. He said 113 to himself. Don't be kidding, Roger, the strongest thing in this world is always force. Go to hell, Lei Luo. He punched again. The speed of the fist was more than twice as fast as before, and the huge fist that descended from the sky brought about an incomparably strong fist pressure. This power seemed to make everything in the world kneel down in front of him. In the next second, Lei Luo threw his left hand violently, and the huge sea stone safe instantly pierced through Bullet's fist pressure, like a hot knife cutting butter, and flew into the sky without any hindrance. Lei Luo stomped his feet fiercely, the ground under his feet cracked instantly, shattered and collapsed, billowing dust and smoke continued to spread towards the surroundings. With the help of this explosive thrusting force, Lei Luo jumped up in an instant, the armament Haki on his right arm seemed to surge and spread out continuously, and Lei Luo's fist expanded at a speed visible to the naked eye, like blowing like a balloon, it inflated at least 3 times in just a few breaths. The huge pitch-black fist blasted out brazenly, bang. The punch was like lightning, the sound of the fist was like thunder, and in the blink of an eye, it collided with Bullet's huge fist with a diameter of 10 meters. At this moment, the whole world seemed to be silent, no matter whether it was the wind blowing over the sea or the surging waves, there was no sound. But the huge fist that was smashed down at a very fast speed just now was visibly stagnated by the naked eye, and the fit titan incarnated by Bullet also trembled violently due to inertia. Bullet's face changed suddenly, and he could clearly feel that an extremely powerful force invaded his body with an unstoppable force, disintegrating the internal structure of this body in an instant. Moreover, this force did not stop at this point, but approached his body at an extremely fast speed. It's over. There's no way to hide. Bullet's mind was blank, and the tyrannical fighting instinct drove his body, but this force made him unable to dodge. About 0.03 seconds later, a 10th-level tornado-like force erupted and swept away. In just a split second, Bullet's combined body was forcibly released, and the huge combined body that was comparable to the Devil Aussie shattered into pieces. The scene not long ago was repeated again. Countless stones, sand, etc. were driven by the strong burst of air waves to splash in the distance in a diffuse manner, and fell into the sea, setting off thousands of waves. On the sea far away AECJ, black sails hang high on the deck of a warship. Crack. Crescent Moon Hunter Katarina Dupont crushed the ship's side in shock at the scene in front of her. This. How can this be? Even though she saw it with her own eyes, Catherine Dye was still subconsciously denying the scene in front of her. How so? Advertisement. The Devil's Heir Douglas Bullet, who used to be the crew of the One Piece Roger, lost. Lost to a brat in his early 20s. When the Roger pirates and the Whitebeard pirates fought their backs, Bullet was able to resist Whitebeard Edward Newgate's dozen punches with this tens of feet tall combined titan. But just now, this move that is enough to be called legendary was hit by that armed natural disaster Fulu. Could it be that the times have really changed? In today's sea, it is difficult for them, the remnants of the old era, to have a place. Goo. The evil government king unconsciously swallowed his saliva, and stammered out 2 words. 1. Fist. The big wine barrel stared dumbfounded at the continuous spread in the distance, smashing the stones, sand, and trees in the sea. He was completely drunk, with an unbelievable look in his eyes, completely forgetting that he accidentally crushed his own wine bottle just now. Recalling what I said before, the heroic declaration of that young boy who wanted to challenge the armed natural disaster Lei Luo. I couldn't help but tremble, and suddenly felt a chill all over my body. Let's go, Captain Teach, you're right. There's no point in staying here any longer. It took a long time for the big barrel Basque choke to spit out such a sentence. A Lei Luo is already terrifying, not to mention that he still has the sons of Whitebeard, as well as the double ghosts and the White Paper Flower Merchant Guild. It is never a wise move to continue to stay here. Blackbeard Teach leaned on the side of the boat with both hands, his fat back was trembling, not because of excitement or fear, but because of the miscarriage of the perfect plan again because of the hatred for Lei Luo. Lei Luo. Blackbeard gritted his back molars fiercely, it seemed that as long as he had a relationship with Lei Luo, everything would be inappropriate and everything would go wrong, no matter how frighteningly he made plans, it would be futile in front of this man. Originally thought that even if Bullet couldn't kill Lei Luo, it would be enough to consume Lei Luo severely. At this time, his Blackbeard pirate group was dispatched in the whole group, whether it was Lei Luo, the White Paper Flower Merchant Guild, or the White Paper Flower Sea. Regardless of the bandit group, they will all be taken down in one fell swoop. He thought that the battle between Bullet and Lei Luo would be nothing more than 3 outcomes, either Lei Luo would die first, or Bullet would die first, or both would suffer. He thought he had considered all the possibilities of this battle, and made a precise battle plan. However, he didn't expect that the strongest armament Haki among the pirates of the previous generation, Roger's crewman Douglas Bullet, would be so vulnerable to Lei Luo. 1 punch, 2 punches, 3 punches. Bullet was easily beaten down. It was so easy to lose. This also directly led to the failure of his follow-up plan. He's already been killed by Lei Luo once, go face to face with Lei Luo who can easily beat Bullet, he doesn't have the guts. It's really useless. Bullet. In vain Lousy rescued you. Blackbeard gritted his teeth and grunted, and finally waved his hand unwillingly. Get out of here as quickly as possible. On the other side of the sea far away, on a warship flying the flag of Justice Seagull. Black-armed Zephyr tightly clenched the newspaper in his hand, his heart trembled uncontrollably, his eyes under the triangular sunglasses bulged out fiercely, as if they were about to stare out. That combined titan, is it Douglas Bullet? Zephyr recognized it at a glance. After all, the crew of Roger, the original One Piece, were all Marines' key monitoring targets. Newly recruited Marines must memorize the faces and abilities of these heinous criminals during recruit training. This rule was set by him, the Marine training master. But compared to why Bullet, the jailbreaker, appeared here, what shocked him even more was that Lei Luo punched Bullet to pieces. This armed natural disaster, is it really that strong? If it were my old brother Garp, would he be able to do this kind of thing? Teacher Zephyr, now do you still want to grab someone from Lei Luo? Kizaru Pelusilinoto's long-tailed voice suddenly sounded, as if waiting to see the joke of this Zephyr teacher, full of irony. Mind yourself, Pelusilino. The veins on Zephyr's forehead were twitching faintly. The B************ D Pelusilino was clearly trying to keep him from stepping down on purpose. To steal someone from Lei Luo, the casualties of this ship of students may be immeasurable. Ain, wearing a cloak of justice, walked quickly from the quarterdeck. Teacher, Bins and the others are ready, waiting for your instruction, and they are ready to fire at any time. Advertisement. Laugh. Kizaru snorted, trying not to let himself laugh, lest this Zephyr teacher face too embarrassing. Although he and this Zephyr teacher have been extremely at odds since they were students, but after all, Zephyr was his teacher and the leader of the team this time. Overdoing it is always bad. Zephyr glanced at the yellow monkey, as if he had made a big decision. No need. Tell Bins and the others to pay attention to the sneak attack of the pirates, and the operation will be cancelled. In was stunned for a second visible to the naked eye, and teacher Zephyr, who has always been one and only said nothing, actually fell back. Yes. After Ain went down to convey the order, Zephyr looked at Kizaru with some displeasure. Let's go Pelusilino, let's go to the island. Kanya Island at this time. Puff. Bullet, who had been invaded by the tyrannical energy, surged uncontrollably, and a mouthful of blood burst out, the eyes as big as cowbells are full of shock and disbelief. Proposal. A power that invades the body and causes destructive damage. Emission. He once followed the One Piece King Roger to Wano Kuni, and he is very familiar with the power of emission, and as the powerhouse who tempered Armament Haki to Ultimate, he only knows about emission Haki, and he can use it with perfect proficiency. Anyone who has refined Armament Haki to Ultimate cannot avoid emission Haki. But, can directly invade and instantly disintegrate his tens of feet high cooperation. It is unheard of for emission Haki to have a body, and at the same time cause a great blow to his body. Just kidding. That is tens of feet high, comparable to a huge fit body of the demon race. What kind of powerful Armament Haki can destroy it in an instant? Armed natural disaster Lei Luo, strength, bottomless. And, how on earth did this guy's fist get bigger? At the moment of the fist fight, he could see clearly that Lei Luo's fist was like blowing up a balloon, and it inflated at least 3 times in just a few breaths. Isn't he really demon fruit power? I never heard that Armament Haki has such an effect. Boom. Doubts and shocks kept popping up in my mind. Bullet's body fell from a high altitude quickly and hit the ground heavily, setting off dust and smoke in the sky and causing the whole island to tremble. It was like a small earthquake. In the next moment, the seastone safe that was thrown into the air by Lei Luo before quickly fell from midair, bang. With a dull muffled sound, the seastone safe was impartial, and it fell on Bullet squarely, like a tower of Uranus that broke through the sky and landed on Bullet. Do not worship evil spirits. Bullet's face, which had not much blood left, turned even paler. Lei Luo fell back to the ground steadily, and what was strange was that he also fell from the midair at an extremely fast speed, but there was no sound at all. You, how on earth did you do it? Bullet's voice, which was completely suppressed, sounded intermittently. He just opened his mouth to speak, and there were sticky and scarlet blood oozing from Kakuzu's mouth. However, Lei Luo didn't intend to talk to Bullet. He was staring at his fist intently with the same question as Bullet in his mind. What happened just now? He just injected Armament Haki into his right arm as usual. Why did his fist suddenly get bigger? Moreover, there are not many Armament Haki just injected into the right arm, far less than when they faced Akainu, Garp, Kaido and others before. Why is there such a change? No, it's not so much that the fist has become bigger, it's better to say that the fist is covered with a layer of unknown things, as if it is covered with a layer of gloves, which makes the size and power of the fist instantly multiplied. Could it be? Lei Luo suddenly thought of a possibility, and as soon as the idea moved, Armament Haki surged out from his body. Clang. The sound of armed clang exploded. The black lacquered fist is covered with a thick layer of substance like a scale cuticle. Advertisement. Chapter 106. Armed concrete, the world's number. One armed person. Please subscribe. Advertisement. Looking at the scale-like things condensed on his arms and fists, Lei Luo's expression froze, and it was exactly what he thought. As more and more Armament Haki poured in, the entire right arm began to become thicker and stronger, and in the blink of an eye it became dark, deep and very hideous. The arm was more than 3 meters long and 50 kilometers thick. Like the right arm of the devil. Lei Luo tried to control this devil's right arm with his thoughts, and small bumps gradually began to appear on the arm, gradually evolving into rows of fine barbs. The joints are flexible and the fingers can move freely. With another thought, The barbed arm suddenly dissipated, as if it had turned into smoke, dissipated in the air, and the arm returned to its original shape. It is as expected. Lei Luo's eyes were filled with joy. Armament Haki can not only be blessed on the body, but can also be extended. The blessing can be extended to touch objects, such as knives and swords. However, he does not use a sword, so he is a bit unfamiliar with this method of extending Armament Haki. It's not that the arms and fists have become bigger and thicker, but that the Armament Haki overflowing from the arms and fists has extended to the surrounding air, adding Armament Haki to the air, making the invisible air tangible and attached to its arms and fists. This must have something to do with his own Armament Haki being upgraded to the extreme level. Extremely, that is, above ultimate, a brand new realm that has never been seen before. Armament Haki is so strong that it has undergone a qualitative change. The ultra highly condensed Armament Haki is so strong that it can be armed with chi. With a thought, Lei Luo stretched out his arms, and the Armament Haki all over his body burst out, directly forming a dark, impenetrable protective cover around his body. This is an ability worth developing. Standing in the dark space covered by Armament Haki, Lei Luo rubbed his chin in thought. When fighting against people in the future, if you suddenly release an air wall that has been strengthened by armed forces, it will definitely achieve an absolutely unexpected effect, or an overwhelming victory. Even if you can precisely control the extended Armament Haki, you may be able to use this ability to forcefully restrain the target you need to capture. Lei Luo snapped his fingers, and the dark military-colored air cover slowly dissipated, like a dark and deep fog dissipating in the air. He glanced around, only to find that Bullet, who was crushed to the ground, was looking at him with a monster-like gaze. Goo. Facing Lei Luo's scorching gaze, the pale Bullet unconsciously swallowed his saliva, seemed to hesitate for a moment, but still plucked up his courage and asked, "You, how did you do it?" "Arrived. Are you really not demon fruit power?" Lei Luo acted as if he hadn't seen Bullet, so he found a place to sit down. After a battle, the black suit on his body was still neat and clean, and the white paper flower on his chest was also spotless. "Hey, don't ignore the old. Don't ignore me." Bullet changed his words under Lei Luo's unfriendly gaze. "Please tell me, how did you do it?" The suddenly enlarged arms, and the black hood. "I can feel the fluctuations of Armament Haki, but Armament Haki alone can't do this kind of thing." The corner of Lei Luo's mouth curved slightly, and from Bullet's gaze, he saw a strong thirst for knowledge. As expected of someone who pursues ultimate. Bullet is a talent to some extent. Not only Armament Haki has been tempered to ultimate, but the ability of Conqueror's Haki and Paramesha combined fruit has also been developed to a very strong level. Moreover, this guy attaches great importance to promises. When he lost to Roger, he worked as a crew member on Roger's ship honestly and steadfastly until Roger's pirate group disbanded. In terms of combat power, at least 2 Marcos can fight. It can also fight steadily against Katakuri, Fire Calamity and the like. If it were 2 ghosts fighting him, even if he could limit his devil fruit ability, it would be extremely difficult to entangle him. After all, what this guy has is Armament Haki that's really been tempered to ultimate. It is not an exaggeration to say that if he faced Bullet before he was promoted to the top, he would never fail in this battle for 10 days and 10 nights. If he can be taken under his command, it will just be able to fill the vacancy of the 3 demons. Turning his mind around, Lei Luo smiled and said, "Your Armament Haki is very strong, but it has not reached the real ultimate. Based on your aptitude, if you ate the Eudemon's Zone's devil fruit, you might still have the opportunity to pursue such heights, but what you ate is the Paramesha composite fruit that has no effect on the improvement of the constitution." Listening to Lei Luo's words, Bullet's face became paler and paler. For a person who pursues ultimate, there is nothing more uncomfortable than knowing that he has not reached ultimate, seeing the real ultimate but being unable to pursue it. Lei Luo went on to make up the knife and said, "In other words, the devil fruit you ate hurt you." Bullet lowered his head gradually, but then raised it abruptly. His burning eyes fell on Lei Luo. "Do you have a way?" "You have a way, right? Advertisement. Help me, I just want ultimate, I can pay anything. Become your subordinate, or offer this life for you." Lei Luo knew that Bullet would say this, because he said the same thing when he lost to Roger and became a member of Roger's pirates, but at that time he was pursuing Ultimate's Conquerors, and One Piece Roger's charisma. "A way, of course there is," Lei Luo said affirmatively. This is really not to lie to Bullet, even if Bullet can no longer improve constitution through Zone and Eudemon's devil fruit, but with his physical strength, it should be enough to withstand the radiation effect of pure gold, right? The radiation effect of pure gold can cause different degrees of changes in the body cells. As long as the negative effects can be borne, the constitution can be completely improved. If Bullet is willing to be under his command, he can consider rewards based on his performance. Before Lei Luo finished speaking, Bullet shouted with red eyes, "Please help me, for ultimate, I will give everything." Lei Luo shook his head noncommittally. If he is Ultimate's suitor, then Bullet is Ultimate's crazy suitor. There was a mocking sneer at the corner of his mouth. "Help you? What can you bring me? Become my subordinate. I have no shortage of people under my command. Whether it is the 16 captains left by Whitebeard to me, or my double ghosts who beat the door, they will not lose to you. Give your life for me. Hey, isn't your life in my hands now?" Lei Luo sneered, revealing the nature of profiteers. He started his business by business. No matter how he changes, whether he becomes a pirate leader or thug in a suit, he can't change the essence of a businessman engraved in his DNA, R**. Bargaining and getting what you like most at the least cost is the most basic self-cultivation for a businessman. Bullet was stunned, and after thinking hard for a while, he suddenly found that he really didn't seem to have anything to offer to Lei Luo in exchange. The most valuable thing is his own life, but this life is in the hands of others. However, Bullet did not give up on his pursuit of ultimate. I do have nothing left, but I can give you a promise. I am willing to work hard for any assignment you have. Just ask for ultimate. Lei Luo shook his head for a while, suddenly came to my territory and swept away my entire 5 islands. You were also a pirate. You know the importance of islands to pirates, right? This debt has not been paid off yet. What do you use to negotiate terms with me? Seeing the astonished Bullet wanting to lower his head again, Lei Luo knew that it was almost time to suppress him. The strong had the dignity of the strong, and if he pressed again, he would explode, and he would lose a champion in vain. Then he said, "You have nothing, and your life is in my hands, so what can you give me back?" "That's good, you stay here and work for me for 10 years. If you are still alive after 10 years, we will talk about how to help you pursue ultimate." Bullet's face was cloudy for a while, and he shouted, "You are very cunning. Not to mention 10 years is too long. If the time limit is approaching, I will die. Isn't it too bad, King Lousy? He is not stupid. How can someone who can be valued by One Piece Roger be a fool?" Now his life is in Lei Luo's hands, but Lei Luo is willing to talk to him so much, it shows that Lei Luo needs him. This is the capital of the negotiation. As long as you stay tight, get the method to pursue ultimate, be his subordinate, and respect him like you respect Roger, there is nothing wrong with it. However, Lei Luo's next sentence made Bullet completely dumbfounded. Then there is no need to talk. You just stay here. Being suppressed by Seastone for 10 or 8 years may also make your constitution change, maybe breaking through to ultimate. Bullet sneered. Don't think I'm stupid. I know, you need me. Lei Luo ignored him. Stop pretending. As I said, if you are willing to tell me how to achieve ultimate, I will serve you as the master, and I will serve you with no regrets. 0. Asking for flowers. Lei Luo still ignored him. Bullet is a little anxious. This guy named Lei Luo is so different from the people he has met. It seems that he needs him, but there is no room for negotiation. It is impossible to figure out what the guy is really like. Manner. But he really needs ultimate, pursues ultimate. Ultimate, these 2 words are what he has pursued all his life, and to him, they are too important. It's okay to ask me to be loyal to you first. 10 years is too long. Halfway, how about 5 years? 7 years, 8 years, 8.5 years, right? It's okay, you should say something. 9 years, right? You can't give up 1 step, right? Advertisement. Lei Luo quietly watched Bullet performed by one person, like standing on the street watching monkeys, not saying a word. Until Bullet finally relented. 10 years is 10 years. I only want ultimate. I recognize Douglas Bullet, meet the captain. Before the voice finished speaking, 2 lines of text jumped out of Lei Luo's eyes. Congratulations to host for completing the task, defeating the Dagrath Bullet who came to challenge, and getting the task reward. Attribute points plus 50. Congratulations to host for overfulfilling the task, taking Douglas Bullet under his command, and getting an extra reward. Attribute points plus 50. 100 attribute points. Hey, for these 100 attribute points, Bullet's subordinate is worth it. 0. Lei Luo said with a smile. 10 years later, if you are still alive, I will teach you how to be like a broken ultimate. From now on, your code name will be called Mountain Demon, and you will be one of my 3 demons. 2. Unmoving like a mountain, moving like a thunderbolt Dagra's bullet, very appropriate. Yes, the mountain demon pays respects to the captain. As soon as Lei Luo raised his hand, Armament Haki surged and extended to the surrounding air. A black tentacle-like thing sprang out from his palm, overturned the Seastone safe, and released the bullet. Seeing this scene, Bullet's eyes are healed. Excited, what Captain Lei Luo used just now is ultimate. Bullet supported his tired and weak body and came to stand behind Lei Luo, consciously positioning himself as a bodyguard. As soon as he stood still, Bullet turned his head abruptly. Haki's tyrannical look made him aware of something approaching rapidly, and he looked at the other end of the island with burning eyes. The ship. Long, someone is coming. The breath is not weak, at least it is Marine Admiral. The corner of Lei Luo's mouth curled into a slight arc. This guy got into the role quite quickly. Boom. Shua. As soon as the words fell, 2 figures stood not far behind Lei Luo. Lei Luo's expression was slightly condensed. 2 breaths, one of them was Kizaru who had fought against him before, and the other, unknown. There are still unknown admiral-level forces in Marine. Lei Luo turned his head, and standing next to Kizaru was a man half a head shorter than Kizaru, with purple hair, wearing triangle sunglasses, wearing dark blue lining, and a man wearing a Marine Justice cloak. They all held a huge wooden tray, and the gold bricks were neatly stacked. Zephyr. Lei Luo recognized it at a glance. The former Marine Admiral Black Arm Zephyr, also known as Don't Kill, Admiral, is a real master of talent training in Marine. However, this breath also. It can barely reach the level of Marine Admiral, probably due to getting old and declining physical functions. Kizaru looked at Lei Luo, then at Bullet beside Lei Luo, his heart sank. Damn, isn't this guy Bullet with Blackbeard? Why did you get involved with Lei Luo again? Could it be, the White Paper Flower Pirates and the Blackbeard Pirates are allied? No, impossible. This idea was just denied by Kizaru himself. Blackbeard killed the Whitebeard Pirates. Lei Luo's power is inherited from Whitebeard. They are sworn enemies. That can only be that Bullet switched to Lei Luo's command. Seeing the way Bullet stood obediently behind Lei Luo, Kizaru knew that his guess was pretty good. Bullet's armed color is not inferior to that of Lei Luo, at least not inferior to that of Lei Luo in the Whitebeard extermination battle. Lei Luo has added another hero, and the power of his pirate group will inevitably expand greatly. And Marine will have an extra powerful enemy. But, what does it matter to him, Kizaru? Kizaru didn't change his face. Captain Lei Luo, we have delivered what you asked for, please come and inspect the goods, beg. Advertisement. Chapter 107. The extreme armed color scares the 4 admirals. Please subscribe. Advertisement. Tons. 2 golden hills fell to the ground, and the ground trembled. Kizaru made a gesture of invitation to Lei Luo. Captain Lei Luo, we have delivered what you asked for, please come and inspect the goods. The face of Bullet on the side changed visibly with the naked eye, full of astonishment and shock, and looked at the new boss he had just worshipped in a daze. This. What's the situation? This is it. The taller one is Kizaru Pelusolino, the shorter one is Black Arm Zephyr. They both know each other, but 2 Marine admirals come to make a deal with Captain Lei Luo. Marine makes a deal with pirates. It's so absurd, it's almost as unbelievable as the Arabian Nights. Even Roger, the One Piece back then, never did such an outrageous thing. Bullet's gaze landed on the seastone safe not far away. Could it be, is this a trade item? Suddenly, Bullet realized another problem. Captain Lei Luo came here to make a deal with Marine, and beat him just incidentally. It seems that this is really the case. Realizing this, Bullet felt very uncomfortable. He thought that Ultimate, in front of Captain Lei Luo, could just be handled by hand. But it also shows that Captain Lei Luo has mastered the Ultimate. Lei Luo came in front of the 2 gold mountains. The color of the gold bricks was rather dark, not that kind of golden color, but a kind of dull gold. This just shows that the purity of these gold bricks is extremely high, and the 2 dazzling color is a manifestation of the gold mixed with other ingredients and the purity is not high. However, Lei Luo was somewhat surprised that Marine was able to obtain such high purity gold with a purity of 99.99% in such a short period of time. It is a strange pattern surrounded by 4 protagonists. Flying Dragon's Hoof. Lei Luo suddenly understood, it turned out to be heavenly gold for celestial dragons. I really underestimated the importance that the world Jungfu attaches to Akainu Sakazuki, the Marine Admiral. Even the gold from the sky was embezzled. No, rather than focusing on Akainu, 680, is more concerned about the face of the world government and Marine, and keeping the face is the most important thing. As for Akainu and T-Dolphins, it's all incidental. 1. This is in line with the consistent urination of the world Jungfu. Stretch out your hand to support the 2 wooden pallets, and lift them up slightly. 147 on the left, 153 on the right, 300 tons, that's right. At the beginning, the red-haired Shanks acted as a guarantee, and pressed 500 tons of gold to 300 tons. The condition was that Marine retreated on the spot, and at the same time, Akainu and T-Dolphins were seized as pledges, and Marine could not take them away on the spot. And the 2 parties agreed that this transaction will be conducted in secret, and neither party can reveal the slightest information to the outside world. Lei Luo readily accepts this point. He can be strict with his mouth, but there is no impenetrable wall in the world. If something spreads one day, he can't blame him. The original asking price of 500 tons was a high price, but it was also in line with the initial psychological price when it was lowered to 300 tons. With these 300 tons of high-purity gold, there will be a lot of gold reserves for research on pure gold and quasi-pure gold. During the enthronement ceremony, Gold Emperor Zoro also sent a cruise ship made of high-purity gold, which is very valuable. After all, the affairs of the white paper flower pirates are settled and the territorial waters are relatively stable, the research on pure gold and quasi-pure gold can be restarted. An immortal body that never dies. Lei Luo clenched his fist slightly, one step closer to the true ultimate. Hey, let me tell you, I've seen it, I've tested it, and it's time for us to get it right. The Black Arm Zephyr on the side suddenly spoke. Lei Luo casually threw 2 gold mountains to Bullet, and Black Arm Zephyr subconsciously wanted to stop them. Before both parties inspected the goods, you accepted the goods unilaterally. This is against the rules. But obviously it was too late. The 2 golden mountains were already in Bullet's hands, and Kizaru, who possessed the speed of light, had no intention of stopping him at all. It's a joke. In the territorial waters of the white paper flower pirates, he must not make a move unless it is absolutely necessary. Otherwise, it will inevitably lead to thunder strikes. This riding horse is the enemy camp. Teacher Zephyr still wanted to steal someone from Lei Luo. It's just that I'm getting old and my brain is not sober. Lei Luo came to the seastone safe, took out the special unlocking device produced by Floy and threw it on it. Without this device, the seastone safe would never be opened unless it was destroyed by brute force, but in that case, there was a crackling sound of gears turning inside the safe, and it bounced open with a bang. The moment the cabinet door popped open, Kizaru's and Fa's expressions suddenly changed. Akainu and the T-Dolphin in the cabinet lost weight at least 3 times. Both of them had heavy dark circles under their eyes, and they were so thin that they were obviously tortured by the 24-hour uninterrupted seastone magnetic field. However, what really surprised Zephyr and Kizaru was not their appearance, but that the seastone safe was full of explosives and shrapnel. In such a small space, once it exploded, the instantaneous ultra-high temperature and shrapnel coverage would inevitably cause the explosion. In an instant, everything inside was completely destroyed. Goo. Zephyr swallowed his saliva unconsciously, thankful that he didn't rob someone, but also looked at Lei Luo with a deep fear. Very vicious Lei Luo, simply watertight. If you snatch someone from him, even if you snatch it, you will not be able to open the safe, and even if you open it, Akainu and the T-Dolphin will be safe without disappearing. Maybe you won't be killed by the bomb, but you will be seriously injured and disabled. The ability user whose Devil Fruit ability was restricted to death couldn't react at that moment. The safe was opened suddenly, and the sunlight that came in was slightly dazzling. Akainu Sakazuki was stunned for a moment, and some did not react. Come out, what's the matter, do you still plan to live here? Lei Luo said angrily. Akainu raised his eyes and saw Kizaru and Zephyr outside, his brain seemed to turn a corner suddenly, and he rushed out, followed by the T-Dolphin. It has to be said that the recovery ability of Logia Demon Fruit Power is really pervert. It has just escaped from the limitation of the Seastone safe. Akainu Sakazuki's originally thin body seemed to be inflated quickly, and it turned back to itself in the blink of an eye. That Akainu, tall and strong. Advertisement. And the T-Dolphin, Paramesha Demon Fruit Power, was obviously not so lucky. He stood sickly by the side, almost as if he had exhausted all his strength just coming out of the safe. Bullet, who was guarding the two golden mountains, had another cloudy and sunny complexion. The trade item is Marine Admiral Sakazuki. I don't know the other one, but I guess he is also a high-level figure in Marine. No wonder Marine made a deal with the pirates, it turned out that he was detained at the Admiral level. This guy Lei Luo is amazing. Detaining Marine Admiral and asking for a ransom from Marine, even Roger, the One Piece King, never did such a crazy thing. Akainu, who saw the sun again, stared at Lei Luo, saw Zephyr and Kizaru, and then saw the two golden mountains. He instantly understood what was going on. Damn Lei Luo, how humiliating him. It doesn't matter if he is captured alive, but to use him to extort ransom from Marine is to put Akainu on the pillar of shame. Even if he returns alive this time, his prestige among Marine will definitely be greatly reduced. Who would recognize an admiral who was tied up by pirates? What a shame, what a shame. Instead of going back to live by the eyes of others, why not give it a go? Marine has 3 admiral levels, is it easy to deal with a Lei Luo? Even if it is within Lei Luo's sphere of influence at this time, what if he is the leader of the thief? Are you afraid that the remaining thieves will fail? Porosalino, Mr. Zephyr, work together to capture and kill this thief, and avenge Marine. Locked in the Seastone safe for so long, completely disconnected from the outside world, Akainu Sakazuki's knowledge of Lei Luo is still at the time of the Whitebeard campaign. In just a moment, Akainu's body was covered by hot magma, the temperature soared to 2000 degrees, and his arms turned into 2 red-hot lava dog heads. Canine Red, Lien. The moment Akainu unfolded 2 lava dog heads and rushed towards Lei Luo raised his hand and swung Armament Haki's arm covering the dark and deep. Boom. The air exploded, and a powerful air wave like a bomb exploded in an instant. Between lightning and flint, the hot lava wrapped in Akainu Sakazuki instantly collapsed, and his body flew upside down, hitting the sea. This. Akainu Sakazuki's eyes widened in disbelief, as if a pair of tricks could fall out of his eye sockets, a strong sense of inconceivability swept over his body. Being easily knocked away by the air wave from Lei Luo's punch, Sakazuki was filled with overwhelming shock before he even had time to feel frustrated. How can this be? Destroy Crimson Dog Tooth in one blow and knock him into the air. What kind of international joke are you making? Although he lost to Lei Luo before, but at that time he and Lei Luo were evenly matched, and even beat Lei Luo. Dust fought for so long, both of them tried their best, and he was finally defeated. He was very aggrieved and lost in physical fitness. But it has been less than a month since he was captured alive by Lei Luo, how did this guy become so violent all of a sudden? The blow just now was crushing without any suspense. How could his strength improve so quickly? You must know that Lei Luo specializes in Armament Haki, and the improvement of Armament Haki needs to be accumulated over a long period of time, rather than improving strength overnight like Devil Fruit. It is no exaggeration to say that the improvement of Armament Haki is several ranks more difficult than the ability development of Devil Fruit in the later stage. But this extremely difficult Armament Haki development becomes so easy in front of this white paper flower Lei Luo. It's unbelievable. This B*********** D is a monster. More monsters than the old Whitebeard thing, perhaps, only rivaled by the undead Kaido of the beasts, the strongest creature of land, sea and air. Also stunned and shocked was Douglas Bullet, who was guarding the 2 golden mountains. The eyes bulged out fiercely, and if you look closely, you will find that the pupils in Bullet's eyes are trembling. Knocking Marine Admiral. It was just a punch, the air wave it caused. Captain Lei Luo is so strong. Is this the real ultimate Armament Haki? Although he Bullet also has the strength to fight against Marine Admiral, but if he is matched against Marine Admiral, it is still unclear who will win the battle in the end. But Captain Lei Luo's punch is overwhelming, crushing an absolute suppression. He asked himself that he couldn't do it. This seemingly simple punch is the highest state he has pursued all his life, which is elusive. Shua. In the blink of an eye, Kizaru, transformed into light, flew to the sea to bring Akainu back. In less than a blink of an eye, the two had reappeared in front of Lei Luo. Excuse me, Captain Lei Luo, Sakazuki was a little out of his mind just now. Now that the transaction has been completed, let's take the first step. Lei Luo waved his hand, then looked at Bullet. Go. Yes, the two completely took 2 Marine admirals, a former admiral and a backup admiral as heir. Came to the beach. Duck. Lei Luo blew his whistle, and on the sea far away, Close to the location where the Zephyr warship was parked, the waves suddenly rolled, and a huge wave appeared among the waves tens of feet high. Incomparable tiger head. Advertisement. Giant sea kings. IN's complexion, who was staying on the warship, suddenly changed, turning pale. There is such a huge monster lurking in this sea area. When did it come? I didn't notice it at all. Suddenly realizing that he had been wandering in front of the gate of hell, Ain, Z and other marine recruits all felt a wave of fear. If Lei Luo hadn't called out this big guy with a whistle, they would never have known that there was such a terrifying guy hiding next to the warship that could smash the warship at any time. If Lei Luo suddenly ordered this guy to attack, then these immature students would probably not even know how to die. The giant tiger-headed sea king swam to Lei Luo at a very fast speed. In fact, it followed Lei Luo all the way. Armed, this will be gold and seastone safes, and with a wounded bullet, it is natural to change the fastest way. Lei Luo stomped his feet, jumped up and stood firm, and looked at Bullet. Come up, what are you doing in a daze? Yes. Bullet froze for a moment, then quickly responded, and jumped up carrying 2 golden mountains, feeling a little more in awe of Lei Luo in his heart. Even this giant sea kings can command. Could it be that Captain Lei Luo, like Captain Roger, can hear the voice of all things? No. This is not the level of listening and communicating. This giant tiger-headed sea kings is obviously in awe of Captain Lei Luo, more like being tamed. Even the fierce giant sea kings can be collected as pets and mounts. Bullet took a deep breath, and suddenly felt that it was a gift for the bottomless Captain Lei Luo to keep him by his side. If you want to follow the strong, you must follow the strongest. Strong. Kanya Island. Seeing Lei Luo going away on the giant tiger-headed sea kings, Akainu Sakazuki unconsciously breathed a sigh of relief. After a few seconds, he came back to his senses with a look of astonishment on his face. Why does Lei Luo leave? I feel a sense of relief. Am I afraid of him? Akainu's mind went blank, and he lost even the ability to think. Kizaru patted Akainu on the shoulder. This guy seems to have become popular, you don't know it. Just yesterday, Lei Luo ascended the throne, forced back all the beasts who came to make trouble. Kaido. Goo. Akainu stared, gritted his teeth, burning with endless anger, the veins on his forehead flowed through the scarlet magma, and his little head burst out like a beeping dog. Push back Kaido of the beasts. This hateful pirate, who was suppressed by him a month ago, can now fight against the veteran 4 emperors and win. Why does he have such a terrifying progress in practice? Haki can be regarded as the slowest way of practice in the world. Why can this pirate be reborn in just 1 month? And the thick black callus that formed on his arm just now is almost incomparably similar to when he activated the canine red lotus. Did this guy eat the mysterious devil fruit? 5.6 or is that just pure, armed color? Akainu thought of this possibility, and the anger in his heart spurted out like a volcanic eruption. This damn pirate has grown to such an extent. It seems, if you don't restrict him, no one in the world will be able to restrict him. Akainu said with a serious face. Kizaru shook his head. Well, I'm afraid no one can limit it now. He has reached an unprecedented level in the field of armed forces, so scary. Zephyr on the side originally wanted to reprimand Akainu and the T-Dolphin as a teacher, but he didn't say so in the end. As a teacher, he was shocked by Lei Luo's appearance, what else? Are you qualified to train students? After a long time, Zephyr finally choked out a sentence. Armed natural disaster Lei Luo, the climate has become irreversible. For a long time in the future, he may be one of Marine's biggest confidants. Suffering. New World's 4 emperors, Kaido and Charlotte Linlin are all old, and red-haired Shanks has also stepped into the library. And Lei Luo, only 24 years old. The previous era was named Whitebeard, and the future era may be dominated by this armed natural disaster Lei Luo. Can reach this level in the field of armed color, Lei Luo is the first person in the world. How nice it would be if this guy was Marine. I am afraid that he can quell all the wars in the world. Too bad he's a pirate. Looking at Lei Luo's disappearing figure, Zephyr suddenly felt extremely regretful. This young man is really talented in the field of armed color. If he really becomes the new generation of Marine Marshal, I am afraid that New World will be able to calm down. Why is such a person not his disciple? He is more suitable for him than the current 3 admirals in Marine. Regardless of Kizaru Pelusalino, although their hockey practice is not bad, they all rely too much on fruit ability. One day, when facing an armed natural disaster like Lei Luo, you will understand how terrible it is after the armed color reaches ultimate. Even, this day has come. Advertisement. Chapter 108. The conflict will begin, clearly rejecting Aunt Charlotte's Hell Tea Party, please subscribe. Advertisement. Half an hour later, on Ness's Island in the hinterland of the White Paper Flower Pirates Territorial Sea, at the gate of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce. Seeing the 2 golden mountains slowly moving towards this side behind Lei Luo, Karina subconsciously covered her mouth with a pair of white hands to prevent herself from yelling inadvertently and damaging her Karina big sister character. However, the astonishment and shock surging in her eyes still completely betrayed her. These 2 big gold mountains are estimated to be about 300 tons by visual inspection, right? And judging from the dim color of gold, it is obviously a good product with extremely high purity, at least 99.5%, maybe even 99.99%. Before becoming Lei Luo's work and life secretary, the charming fox Karina was a well-known phantom thief, and she never made a mistake when looking at treasures. Lei Luo deserves to be Lei Luo, who actually forced Marine to take out such a quantity and purity of gold to redeem him. Is this gold enough to cover Marine's military expenditure for 1 to 2 years? And it was far greater than the cost of building relationships with Marine when the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce was first established. Letting Marine spit out everything he ate in one go, only Lei Luo has such an ability. This time Marine and the world Zhengfu are bleeding a lot. However, compared to these two golden mountains, it is the respectful, honest and well-behaved burly figure behind Lei Luo who attracts more attention. Is that Douglas Bullet, who came to challenge Lei Luo? One of the remnants of the old era, once the crew of the One Piece King Roger, joined the Roger Pirates because he lost the bet with the One Piece King Roger, and because he was born in the battle between the Roger Pirates and the Whitebeard Pirates. Famous for more than a dozen punches, known as the Heir of the Devil, he was crushed in the deepest part of the impelled-down deep-sea prison, and was seen again because of Blackbeard's prison break. This morning, he announced that he would challenge Lei Luo. Half an hour ago, he was still stirring up wind and rain in the territorial waters of the White Paper Flower Pirates. When Lei Luo was away, Karina had already checked out the big glass bullet. Such a fierce man followed Lei Luo in an orderly manner at this time, as if he was looking forward to Lei Luo. Could it be? Lei Luo subdued him like he subdued the ghost agent. Hiss. Karina gasped unconsciously. This is the crew of One Piece Roger. It took only a short time for Lei Luo to go out, and he was subdued. This is too incredible. With Lei Luo's strength, it's not surprising to beat him to the point, but it's really hard to imagine how he managed to pack it up so well. In just a few breaths, Lei Luo brought Bullet to Karina. Karina, let Bullet take the vacant seat of the three demons. Let me know, and Bullet will be the mountain demon of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce from now on. Yes. Karina's face was full of astonishment, but she still responded subconsciously. In fact, her mind is blank right now, and there is a voice in her blank mind. Lei Luo really subdued the crew of the former One Piece. Lei Luo greeted Karina. You come with me, go to the vault first. Karina agreed, and walked ahead to lead the way in a very obedient manner. Pass through the hall of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce and go all the way down to the underground of the laboratory where Floy is located. Opposite the laboratory is the underground vault of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce. Lei Luo and Karina stepped forward at the same time, took out two keys and inserted them into the keyholes, and twisted them in opposite directions. There was a sound of rattling gears in the thick vault door. Boom. The metal gate with a height of more than 10 meters and a thickness of more than 3 meters is slowly opened, and what greets the eyes is a dazzling gold. In the huge space of more than 400 square meters, densely packed gold is piled up on the surrounding walls, and the middle area is arranged in different categories. There are various kinds of gold with different purity. On the left side is a cruise ship made of gold, which is the enthronement gift from Gold Tesoro, and on the right side are countless Bailey banknotes. These are all the wealth obtained by the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce for so many years. It is not a joke that the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce's terrifying financial resources are second only to Gold Emperor Zoro. In order to study pure gold and quasi-pure gold, most Bailey banknotes have been replaced with gold. Otherwise, if all banknotes are placed, this treasury is simply not enough to hold them. Leaving the work of stacking gold to Bullet, Lei Luo threw the gold bricks he was playing with to Karina. With these, the research on quasi-pure gold should be restarted, tell Floy. Let him let go and do it. If something goes wrong, I will be the one. Karina agreed and played with the gold brick thrown by Lei Luo. When she flipped the gold brick upside down, she suddenly lost her composure, and her face suddenly changed, with surprise and astonishment written all over her face. Gold in the sky. Karina recognized the flying dragon's hooves carved into the bottom of the brick. Oh my god. Advertisement. Lei Luo actually forced the world to conquer the government and even took out all the gold in the sky. Gold in the sky, that is what God provides to celestial dragons, and it is also called a taboo thing that must not be touched, in the circle of strange thieves. The same gold with a purity of 99.99%, with the hooves of flying dragons, becomes the celestial dragons. The value is unmatched by other golds, and it will never be misappropriated easily. Being able to force the world Zhengfu to redeem Akainu Sakazuki with gold from the sky shows that Fuluo's strength and influence have reached the point where the whole world fears him. Suppressing the shock and astonishment in her heart, Karina came to Lei Luo. Boss, I need to report something to you. Explain. Good news. The members of the Dongtata clan have been brought back, and I have asked people to purchase materials according to the list provided by the Dongtata clan. In a few days, the Smile Man-made Devil Fruit Factory can be rebuilt. After the words fell, Karina raised her face and waited for praise. Lei Luo reached out and rubbed her small head full of purple hair, and praised without a word. Well done. The charming fox Karina seems to have turned into a cat enjoying the master's caress, and after enjoying it for a while, she continued. The reconstruction of Derice Rosa has been completed for the most part, and according to the progress of the project provided by King Liku, there will be another half. It will be completed within a month. The newly built urban area and tourist facilities have already been put into use, and all the project funds allocated to Derice Rosa have been paid back. A smile appeared on the corner of Lei Luo's mouth. This is really good news. A country recognized by the world government must not be underestimated in its resources and capital operations. When the reconstruction is completely completed, the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce will add another a huge income. This time Karina didn't wait for Lei Luo's praise, and then said, There's one more thing. The 12 sent out not only brought back news of the reconstruction progress of the Dong Tata clan and Derice Rosa, but also the blood demon Dracula found. Yes, he came back with the ship, and I arranged for him to live in the new camp of the 12 with Brother Hoffman. Blood bombs were used, and his strength has been greatly lost, but Floyd's recovery plan has been made. In 10 days at most, the blood demon Dracula's strength can return to its peak. In addition, the production of your car, Destroying the Sky, has come to an end. It was personally supervised by Bramank, the captain of the 6th Division. According to the one restoration of Mr. Whitebeard's Moby DK, it will be officially launched in another week. The captains of the original Whitebeard pirates are all multitasking. Marco is a combatant, the captain of the first team and a ship doctor. Ace is a combatant, the captain of the second team and a navigator. This Brayman is a combatant, the captain of the 6th Division and a boatman. As one of the 4 emperors, Lei Luo must not live without his own car. Although riding the giant tiger-headed sea kings to ride the wind and waves is indeed cool and in line with the emperor temperament, but the tiger-headed sea kings cannot carry too many people, nor can it be equipped with heavy firepower. After all, a car is needed. Not only does it need a car, but it also needs accompanying ships, escort ships, etc. In short, everything that Whitebeard once had, Lei Luo must have. Not only have, but better. One of the dignified 4 emperors, you can't lose the noodles. After finishing speaking, Karina's delicate little face raised, showing whether I am awesome or not. Lei Luo pinched Karina's delicate cheeks and kneaded them. Great. With you here, I can really save a lot of trouble. Karina raised her nose. Every time I verbally praise, I don't want. Then what do you want? I want you to stay with me more. The beauty's coquettish tone is soft and sweet. Lei Luo felt the fullness on his arms, and smiled wryly. I will try my best. HMPH. Say that every time. Karina snuggled into Lei Luo's arms and muttered, acting coquettishly enough. Okay then, I'll trust you again. Lei Luo rubbed her purple hair. This good girl said the same thing last time. By the way, the Charlotte family's tea party will be held in less than a month. What should we do? Go or not? Karina, who was snuggling like a cat, suddenly looked up. A sneer appeared on the corner of Lei Luo's mouth. Don't worry about it. Undeniable hell tea party. Before he is promoted to the top, when there is still a lot of time to improve his strength, he may still be scruples about the invitation from Charlotte's hell tea party. But since she has achieved the ultimate, then Aunt Charlotte is nothing to be afraid of, so why bother to pretend? Besides, the tea party is the outside, and the marriage is the inside. Big Mom is a lunatic who wants to eventually rule the world through marriage, but Lei Luo is also a person with a sky-high haki. He served Whitebeard as the deputy captain because of his life-saving grace when he first crossed. Now he's on his way. In today's pirate world, apart from the hidden power in the celestial dragons in the world government, the 4 emperors and others on the bright side, he is second in the world. The unprecedented realization of armed forces made his strength progress to the point of being completely incomprehensible. Even those who have developed devil fruit to the extreme will be blown away by him with 3 punches. So, why should he bow down to Charlotte's grandma? Even if it is the famous red-haired beauty Garrett among the dozens of daughters of the ant, but so what? Advertisement. He, Lei Luo, is not someone who can't walk when he sees a woman. When he has absolute strength, he doesn't need to use women to maintain his rule. Moreover, at this stage, whether it is military strength or top-notch combat power, the white paper flower pirates are by no means inferior to the Wangguo that Charlotte's super ant put together. But if you refuse, you will be retaliated by the Charlotte family and the BIGMOM pirates. Karina worried. Lei Luo sneered. If the wind blows, let's go to war. You will call back to the BIGMOM pirates in a while and expressly refuse. Good. Karina breathed a sigh of relief. After all the gold was processed, Lei Luo asked Karina to arrange a residence for Bullet, who was also arranged in the camp of the 12 people, and they were also the 3 demons. He had to get in touch with Dracula and Hofdemon brothers first to get to know each other, form a tacit understanding, and in the future joint operations can exert the effect of 1 + 1 + 1 greater than 4. The blood demon Dracula, who is almost immortal, and the Hofdemon brothers, whose body structure is different from ordinary people, and the mountain demon Bullet, whose armed color has been tempered to ultimate, and who has both ultimate interview color and extremely strong conquerors, is no surprise, this will be the strongest of the 3 demons under his command. The affairs of the Chamber of Commerce are handled by Karina, the affairs of the pirate group are managed by 15 captains, and Lei Luo continues to be his hands-off shopkeeper. Come to the lounge on the top floor of the Chamber of Commerce, first consume all the 100 attribute points obtained from the battle with Bullet, and the system interface flickers and changes to 637. Name: Lei Luo. Age: 24 years old. Strength: Admiral. Armament Haki level: Extreme Armament, Absolute Domain, 109 10,000ths. You have broken through the pinnacle, achieved the ultimate, the road to become stronger is endless, continue. Let's move on to the new ultimate. Attribute point balance: 0. Armed skills: Hot Fist, Thunder Roar. Gain buff: None. Mission 1. If you are the king, you should defeat Garp the Fist, who is recognized as the strongest armament Haki owner in the world. Mission reward: Armament skill Tarzan Iron Fist. The mission is long-term. Exclamation mark. Task 2. Carrying it with you and adapting to the magnetic field of radioactive substances and pure gold will bring continuous improvement to the host, with daily attribute points +1. This task is a daily task. For the 10,000 progress bar, a mere 100 attribute points is obviously just a drop in the bucket. It's embarrassing to use, but it's better than nothing. Meanwhile, Naval Headquarters, Marineford, in the office of Acting Marshal Sengoku. However, when the armed wall appeared, Lei Luo suddenly noticed something different. Then Lei Luo closed the system interface, and Armament Haki surged all over his body, gathered on his arm, and then extended from his arm. Clang. There is already a dark and thick wall in front of you. Armament Haki is used to arm the air. This skill must not only be mastered, but also be able to be used flexibly. As the hot feeling all over his body dissipated, Lei Luo could clearly feel that his strength, speed, endurance and various functions of the body had been strengthened, but the extent of the strengthening. Lei Luo's thoughts changed in his mind, and he once again devoted himself to the process of familiarizing himself with the skill of armed air, constantly releasing and retracting, repeating this boring process tirelessly. With 100 attribute points consumed, he seems to be more comfortable controlling Armament Haki that extends beyond his body. Adding Armament Haki to air takes time. Only in this way can it be used in battle. Also significantly shortened. The point. Hand over the handsome seal. Even he himself didn't realize that in the process, the armed wall was becoming thinner and tougher little by little. It's not that big. After the Whitebeard annihilation campaign, Sengoku has been demoted from a marshal to an acting marshal, only to wait for Sakazuki and Pelusilino to come back and elect a new marshal immediately. It seems that if you want to put the skill of Armament Haki into actual combat, you need to get more attribute points. There was a smile on the corner of Lei Luo's mouth. No wonder these 100 attribute points did not improve the body much, so the focus of the improvement is here. The sound of armed clanging, explosion and explosion. At this time, the white-haired Sengoku was sitting at the desk silently writing something, and the big bold characters at the top of the row read, World Conscription Plan. Advertisement. Chapter 109. Concubine Boa Hancock, come to propose to Captain Lei Luo, please subscribe. Advertisement. In about 2 days, the Sea of Nations ruled by the BIGMOM pirates. Inside the giant cake castle in Cake Island. Damn Lei Luo. Give face to shameless little b***************** D. Charlotte Linlin, whose love for sweets is engraved in her DNA, rarely overturned all kinds of desserts sent by the chef's long bread. Katakuri, Smoothie and Cracker, the 3 dessert generals, stood aside without saying a word. Katakuri dripped water with a gloomy face, and so did Smoothie. Only Cracker's eyes hide a hint of joy. Since Lei Luo is so ungrateful, then there is no need to worry about his younger sister Garrett marrying him. But besides the secret joy, there is more in his eyes, still outraged by the offense to the dignity of the Charlotte family. Just now, they received news from the White Paper Flower Sea area that the 4 emperors armed the scourge Lei Luo and explicitly rejected the tea party of the Charlotte clan. What a big dog. It's just a new emperor who has just ascended the throne, relying on the foundation left by Whitebeard, so arrogant. Or, does he think that by defeating the suppressed Kaido of the beasts, he already has the capital to challenge the old 4 emperors? I just don't know what to say, I don't know how to praise. In addition to being upset, the 3 children also held their weapons tightly, as if they were facing a big enemy. They all knew that at this moment, their mother was so angry that she was ultimate. Severe mood swings are very likely to induce mother's cravings, and every outbreak of cravings is a devastating catastrophe. As the 3 dessert generals, they must prevent their mother from running away, otherwise the destruction of Cake Island will only be a matter of seconds. After losing her temper, Charlotte Linlin sat down on the ground, and the whole cake castle trembled 3 times. The offended anger danced in the eyes, but the distorted joyful voice came out. Well. Are you so bold to rely on your mother's love for you, Lei Luo brat? She said something to herself, and then turned to her second son, Kaido Army. Mom, I'm here. Katakuri heaved a sigh of relief. No, it should be said that the 3 generals of desserts also heaved a sigh of relief. Mother's emotions calmed down, and the crisis of craving for eating may be resolved. At the same time, there was a hint of expectation in the hearts of the 3 children. The mother smiled back with anger, which was a sign of extreme anger. How would the mother deal with this armed natural disaster Lei Luo who didn't know how to praise? Now that the wind has blown, the new emperor may be removed from the sea forever. Take a trip to the White Paper Flower Sea yourself. Hang the heads of the slapping ghosts at the entrance of Lei Luo's Chamber of Commerce. Charlotte Linlin's eyes are sullen. Since you, Lei Luo, don't know how to flatter and refuse to accept the invitation letter, then prepare to accept the letter of challenge. The 2 emperors are at war, and the majesty of the Charlotte family cannot be violated. Katakuri pondered for a moment. He became the emperor's deputy not only because of his own strong strength, but also because he could still maintain a rational and calm mind even if the majesty of the family was violated. Mom, the 2 ghosts who beat the door are a pair of powerful men under Lei Luo, and they are also the core members of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce. They are bound to be stationed in the hinterland of the White Paper Flower Sea region, even beside Lei Luo. Attack them directly. The probability of success is very low, and it is also possible to directly attack the armed natural disaster Lei Luo, which will cause the loss of our troops in vain. It is not a wise move. Although he has always regarded his mother's words as an imperial decree, it is what a deputy of the emperor should do to provide feasible and correct opinions to the emperor. Charlotte paused slightly for Linlin. If other children and subordinates said such things to her and questioned her decision, she had already taken away the other party's life with the sole mantra of, life or snacks. But Katakuri is different, not only her second son, but also her emperor's deputy, think tank, her most outstanding son who can help her most. Then it depends on you. Katakuri changed his mind. Since you want to give Lei Luo a gift, then you have to give a big gift. Choose a target that can be absolutely suppressed, and attack Lei Luo with a strong momentum to catch Lei Luo by surprise. Charlotte Linlin nodded slightly, making sense. Katakuri is her most outstanding son. If possible, she doesn't want Katakuri to take risks, go directly to the hinterland of the white paper flower sea or something, the risk is high, and the success rate is not high. In the end, it is very likely that he failed to kill the enemy and lost 800 of himself. I remember my mom loving the special desserts from the Fishman Island. Katakuri continued. Charlotte raised Linlin's thick eyebrows, and instantly understood Katakuri's meaning. Hexia Jinbei led the Sun Pirates to join Lei Luo's command, and the Fishman Island also planted a white paper flower flag. Sweeping the Fishman Island is no different from hitting Lei Luo directly in the face. Advertisement. At the same time, the Fishman Island is located in the deep sea below 10,000 meters. Even if the news reaches Lei Luo, it will be too late for him to send troops to support him. After they finish coating the boat, they will go down to the bottom of the 10,000 meters. In the deep sea, the BIGMOM pirates have already completed their sweep and capture of the Fishman Island. Besides, although murlocs and mermaids are naturally stronger than common humans, their inherently strong physiques are not worth mentioning in front of powerful and transcendent experts. The Marine Knight Neptune it is also empty and has its name. Looking at the Fishman Island, the only combat power that can be used is Hexia Jinbei, but he is by no means Katakuri's opponent. Attacking the Fishman Island is almost a surefire win. The best thing is, you can also get delicious desserts from the Fishman Island. Charlotte Linlin unconsciously recalled the delicious taste of the desserts, and the acid in his stomach surged up, and his saliva drools the ticking fell, instantly burning through the luxurious carpet on the ground. Then go to the Fishman Island and help mom stock up on some delicious desserts, Katakuri. Charlotte Linlin giggled, and put on a cryptic rhetoric in a very wicked way. Then turned to Smoothie and Cracker. Look at Katakuri, and look at you all learning from your fellows. Yes, Mom. Smoothie and Cracker hurriedly bowed to answer. Afterwards, the three generals left the door respectively. In less than half an hour, the news that the armed natural disaster Lei Luo refused the invitation to the BIGMOM held tea party spread almost throughout the seas of all nations. Butter Island. Boom. The Minister of Butter, Garrett, who was preparing royal butter for her mother, punched the food chopping board heavily. That armed scourge Lei Luo turned down Mom's invitation to a tea party. The guy who doesn't know how to praise. On the side, Cracker, who came to announce the good news to his sister, was eating a biscuit. Why are you so angry? Isn't this a good thing for you? Or, do you really want to marry that Lei Luo for the family? If Lei Luo really agreed to the invitation, it would be unfavorable for the younger sister Garrett. Her mother's words cannot be violated. If she wants to marry, she must go. There is no condition to be negotiated. But now Lei Luo has rejected the invitation. It's a godsend turning point. Marriage is a matter between two people. Even Lei Luo doesn't want to marry, so of course my younger sister, Garrett, doesn't need to marry. Garrett took a deep breath, and resumed handling the imperial butter that she overturned with a particularly serious face. Her preoccupied look naturally failed to escape Cracker's eyes, isn't it? You really want to marry Lei Luo? What the hell is wrong with you? This isn't like you. Cracker was a little stunned. He and Garrett were born of the same father and the same mother. Compared with his brothers and sisters, the relationship is closer, and they grew up together. Cracker thinks he knows his sister very well. But now, he suddenly realized that he couldn't understand his sister anymore. She was angry about a strange man she had never met. She's never been like this before. In fact, Garrett is also asking herself at this moment, why does she feel uncomfortable when Lei Luo rejected the invitation? Did I always expect Lei Luo to agree to get married? No, it's impossible. This is absolutely impossible. Actually, I have always resisted marriage. Marriage should be like Sister Lola's, making decisions by myself. Garrett moaned as thin as a mosquito, murmured in a low voice that only she could hear, constantly denying the true thoughts in her heart. When Mingming first heard her mother say that she was going to marry Lei Luo, she was so unwilling. Is the old road that the older sisters have gone through finally coming to her? But as Lei Luo fought Aokiji fiercely, resisted Garp with 1 against 2, and Sengoku, the two marine legendaries' joint attack, gradually became famous, she suddenly felt that this Lei Luo might be a good husband candidate. Young, strong, with a high status, and possesses terrifying financial resources second only to the Golden Emperor Tesoro. It seems that there is no more perfect marriage partner for him in this world. After having this idea, it was out of control, and she gradually realized that what she was resisting was her mother's imperative marriage, not Lei Luo. If she can marry Lei Luo, her future must be much better than other sisters who marry outsiders. Not long ago, Lei Luo forcibly repelled Kaido of the beasts, and the enthroned Emperor Pei Ross also sent him an invitation according to his mother's wishes. I thought all this would go smoothly, and she was even ready to put on her wedding dress. After all, rejecting the Charlotte family's invitation has never happened before, so of course Lei Luo would agree to the invitation. Garrett, who grew up in the family, would take it for granted. But at this time, Big Brother Cracker sent the news that Lei Luo rejected the Charlotte family's invitation. If I insist on describing this feeling, I finally persuaded myself to accept something that I couldn't accept at first, and I mustered up the courage for it. When I started to look forward to the future, I suddenly realized that it was all my own wishful thinking. People don't look at you at all. Garrett raised her head slightly, and the glass window in the butter processing workshop reflected her devilishly perfect figure outlined by the ultra-short tight one-piece dress. Advertisement. The waist is as thin as a bee, with unevenness, every corner is the golden ratio, from the head to the waist, to the legs, to the feet, the perfect line is impeccable. Such a figure is enough to make all men kneel down under her pomegranate skirt. How could that Lei Luo look down on her? Garrett thought of a possibility. Big brother, does Lei Luo know that I am the first candidate for marriage? I probably don't know. According to Brother Pei Ross, he only sent an invitation letter to the tea party. On the day of the enthronement ceremony, Lei Luo was too strong, so he didn't mention who he married with. Cracker said something casually, and then suddenly came back to his senses. Why are you asking this, don't you? Before he could finish speaking, he was interrupted by Garrett. If Big Brother has nothing to do, let's go first. Zhongxing won't be so idle, right? Cracker hesitated slightly. His sister was giving him an order to evict him. It's just unbelievable. However, since my sister has already said so. Cracker stood up. Mother's order cannot be disobeyed. If you are allowed to marry, you have no choice. If you are not allowed to marry, you will have no choice. You also have no choice. Find out who you are, and don't do stupid things. Leaving this instruction, Cracker opened the door and left. Garrett's eyes were empty and blank, like an emotionless machine processing the royal butter. All kinds of thoughts kept flashing in her mind. She's had enough of the Charlotte family. Handling various things like a machine every day, defending the dignity of the Charlotte family. Everything is just to meet the needs of the mother. In the eyes of the mother, these children may not be as warm as those homies, they are just cold tools. Lola and other brothers and sisters who run away from home were all ordered by their mother to hunt down and kill them. If Katakori's big brother hadn't relented and let them go, they wouldn't even be in the Sea of Nations. Can't get out. The so-called blood relationship is actually the chains that the mother binds them. In Wangguo, in the BIGMOM pirates, and in the entire Charlotte family, it is not surprising that people have this kind of thinking. Stop her alone. If possible, she would really like to marry into the white paper flower pirates. Lei Luo is also one of the 4 emperors, equal to his mother. If he wants to get married, it is definitely impossible to let him join. Then she can only marry. In that case, she can get rid of Li Hao, this heartless Charlotte family. Fate should be in your own hands. A gleam flashed in Giardi's eyes, and she murmured in a low voice. Ya Hancock's Hydra. According to Karina's estimate, the pirate empress is probably here to seek refuge, otherwise she wouldn't have to let go of her defenses to show her sincerity. The 9 snakes approached gradually, and the giant tiger-headed sea kings bared its teeth at the 2 swimming snakes, very unfriendly. The people from 9 snakes did not explain their purpose of coming, they only said that they came to visit, but they were willing to unload all the firepower equipment on the ship at the edge of the territorial waters to show their sincerity. Thieves, Daughter's Island, come to propose marriage. Hee, hostess. To the degree of unexplainable terror. That is to summon the little tiger and tell it that she is its mistress. At the same time, a ship shaped like a city hall floating on the sea was slowly approached by 2 city snakes near the island of Nessus in the hinterland of the white paper flower sea. What wheat? According to the data, the pirate queen Boa Hancock is a Paramecia sweet fruit capable person, possessing Conqueror's, armed color and seeing color, Conqueror's Haki, devil fruit ability is almost as high as. As soon as Xiaohu calmed down, there was a voice on the opposite 9 snakes that even women found extra sweet. I am the pirate empress Boa Hancock, representing the 9 snakes. Karina couldn't help being taken aback. On the pier of Nessus Island, Karina, who had long received the news of the 9 snake empress's visit, came to greet her on a giant tiger-headed sea kings. 2 days ago, Lei Luo no longer just gave her verbal praise. If such a top combat power can be brought together, Lei Luo will definitely praise her for being great. Zhu Red Sail has 2 big characters, 9 snakes, and the pattern of the pirate flag flying high on the mast looks like a skull covered by 9 snakes of the sun. It is the pirate empress bow. Instead, she was given a reward that made her heart ecstatic. Karina patted it. Little tiger is not allowed to make trouble, that is a guest. Advertisement. Chapter 110. A big gift for Lei Luo, Kaur strikes the Fishman Island. Please subscribe. Advertisement. My concubine, Boa Hancock, represents the 9 snake pirates and Daughter Island, and I come to propose marriage. This voice that even women thought was extraordinarily sweet made Karina stunned for a moment, as if a flash of lightning had flashed in her mind, making her mind go blank for a short time. Courtship. The most beautiful woman in the world, the only woman in 7 warlords of the sea, the pirate queen Boa Hancock came to propose to Lei Luo. Hiss. Karina took a shallow breath of the salty sea breeze, and instantly smelled a strong sense of crisis. Just now, she rejected that Aunt Charlotte, and another pirate empress appeared. What the hell, why are all these women staring at her Lei Luo's body, huh? With the crisp sound of stiletto shoes stepping on the deck, Boa Hancock stood on the bow, condescendingly looking at Karina on top of the giant tiger-headed sea kings. I come to propose to Captain 4 Emperors Lei Luo. Pretty lady, may I ask who you are? An invisible aura spread along with Boa Hancock's words. It wasn't the aura of a strong man or any of Conqueror's Haki. Rather than calling it aura, it's better to call it charm. Attractiveness of women. The charm of the world's most beautiful woman exudes in every gesture. It is a charm that makes everyone look forward to it but dare not ask for it, and makes even proud women feel ashamed of themselves. Eyebrows are like Lu Yi, eyes are like bright stars, jade bones and skin are fair and pleasant, skin is like white jade and green onions, appearance is like a fairy's eternity, the beauty of the sky is endless, and the beauty is endless. Even just looking at it from a distance makes people feel a bit ashamed, as if the word, beauty, was born for her. Immediately afterwards, the screams of countless Daughter Island warriors came from the Hydra, and the girls on Daughter Island Day were all fans of Boa Hancock. Her Majesty the Empress. Your Majesty, you are so beautiful. Please ravage me, my lord sister. Not only the women on the Hydra were screaming, but the pirates on Ness's island also broke out into rounds of noisy whispers. Is that the pirate Empress Boa Hancock? She really is so beautiful. Sucking. As expected of the pirate Empress, more beautiful than Karina Big Sister's head, I really want to be R******D by her. I thought there was no one more beautiful than Captain Yi Zhang except for Karina Big Sister head. Now, there's one more woman who is more beautiful than Captain Yi Zhang. Captain Yi Zhang of the 16th Division was inexplicably victimized by his reputation. For a while, Boa Hancock was in the limelight, whether it was charm, aura or popularity, they were all overwhelmingly strong. Karina is the only one who has not been overwhelmed by Boa Hancock's beauty. As long as she has unshakable true love in her heart, she will not be affected by the confusing aura of the sweet fruit-capable person. In the next second, the originally calm sea surface suddenly had layers of waves, and the giant tiger-headed sea kings carrying Karina suddenly stands up and pulls its own height 673 to be even with the Hydra, forcing Boa Hancock to be unable to then look down on Karina with a condescending attitude. Pulled up Karina's noodles in an instant. Karina reached out and stroked the head of the giant tiger sea kings twice. The clever little tiger knows how to protect the owner. I'm Karina, the Vice President of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce, and I'm also the Secretary of Boss Lei Luo. Hello, Boa Hancock, the Queen of Pirates, welcome to visit. I have heard a good name for a long time, and it is better to see it once. Boa Hancock looked at Karina who was face to face with him, and imperceptible astonishment flashed in his eyes. This woman is not simple. She was not affected by the aura of the sweet fruit. If you don't have great willpower, then you have an unshakable true love in your heart, otherwise you will never be able to resist the aura of the sweet fruit. Wait, isn't Lei Luo's mount carrying her, the giant tiger-headed sea kings? She saw it firsthand as 7 warlords of the sea during the Whitebeard extermination battle. Lei Luo's mount, how does she ride it? What is their relationship? By the way, I remembered that a certain issue of the newspaper said that Lei Luo's white paper flower shop is often managed by a woman named Charming Fox Karina. Is she the Charming Fox? Boa Hancock's eyes swept over Karina. She has a pretty face and fair skin, even if she is only wearing a dark professional attire, her perfect body curve cannot be concealed at all. As for her aura, she can be cold, professional, playful, and pure. My god, how can one person possess so many different auras at the same time? This Karina is simply a natural beauty with thousands of faces, a natural vixen. Moreover, she exudes a special charm in every gesture, as if she is lingering with a natural charm. There is no need for deliberate pretentiousness at all, and she can make people just look at her and can't move her eyes. If you want to describe this beauty, it is pure and lustful, charming and natural. No wonder it is called the Charming Fox. Suddenly, for the first time in history, Boa Hancock felt a little unconfident about his beauty. If this Karina is not the one who eats the sweet fruit, the title of Empress may change hands. Advertisement. She may be the biggest stumbling block on the way for the concubine to propose to Lei Luo. Boa Hancock thought so, with a smile on his face. It turns out to be the vice president of Karina. Even on the isolated Nine Snake Island, I have also heard your name before. You are Captain Lei Luo's most capable and trusted assistant. Karina also smiled. It's just to help Boss Lei Luo do what I can, but you're right, otherwise I won't be able to do such an important thing as receiving the Empress. The assistant, who keeps saying, trust. The two beautiful women looked at each other, as if there was a spark, but it didn't seem to be. Whether it's the female warriors on the Hydra or the pirates on Ness's island, they all stared at the two beauties, but they didn't notice at all that the contest between the two had begun faintly. After listening to Karina's words, Boa Hancock knew that he had met his opponent this time. This time I represent Daughter's Island and the Nine Snake Pirates to propose to Captain Lei Luo. May I ask Vice President Karina, where is Captain Lei Luo now? Please take this concubine to go and see her. Boa Hancock said with a smile, the implication is, the concubine came to ask Lei Luo to marry her, and if she wants to see the rightful owner, you are just a receptionist, don't get in the way. Karina pretended to be helpless and said, it's not a coincidence that the Empress came, Boss Lei Luo is practicing in seclusion. I don't know if the Empress's schedule is tight this time. If you have enough time, you might as well settle down first, and I will report when Boss Lei Luo is out of customs. Karina's words sounded right, but in Boa Hancock's ears, it became, you came at the wrong time, Lei Luo has no time to see you. If you have something to do, go first, or just wait here, wait for Lei after Luo left the customs. I would go to him again and say, I won't make a guarantee if I see you or not. In fact, Karina's implication does have this meaning. But she can't say it dead. Daughter Island may be nothing, but the strength of the pirate queen Boa Hancock is not to be underestimated. The strength and power of the regiment will be raised to a whole new level. This was not in vain of Lei Luo's trust in her. However, what she said was all the truth. Lei Luo was indeed in retreat to practice his armament haki, and all the affairs of the Chamber of Commerce and the pirates were left to her and the 15 captains. Captain Lei Luo is really hardworking and motivated. Even if he has become one of the 4 emperors, he still doesn't slack off in his own cultivation. What a rare thing. Sure enough, only a perfect man like Captain Lei Luo is worthy of being a concubine. Boa Hancock smiled and launched a new round of attack without any trace, first praised Lei Luo, and then expressed herself, as if she and Lei Luo were the fateful love 18 made in heaven and matched as a couple. Karina was not moved by Boa Hancock's remarks at all, she smiled slightly, and her forehead stretched across the sky. That's right, he practices till late every day, but he works hard. He spends 24 hours a day, and he spends 18 hours practicing and dealing with various affairs. I don't sleep well at night, I always turn around, which makes me think he is practicing in a dream. Before the voice fell, Boa Hancock's smiling expression froze. It should be said that she is indeed the woman who was named the vice president by Lei Luo. This Karina's words are full of soft knives, it's too difficult to deal with. Lei Luo doesn't sleep well at night. She is clearly taking an oath of sovereignty. She knows all about Lei Luo sleeping. The previous premonition was indeed correct, this Karina must be the biggest stumbling block on her way to propose to Lei Luo. Seeing the pirate queen Boa Hancock stunned on the spot as if struck by lightning, the witty Karina knew that the fire was almost ready. Oh, aeea. Look at my brain. First pretending to be annoyed, he slapped himself on the forehead, and then said, it's the first time I saw the Empress, I was too busy talking, so I'm slowing down the honorable guest. Please follow me to the island. I will arrange accommodation for the Empress and the female warriors of the daughter island. In short, settle down first. It will take a long time for boss Lei Luo to leave the customs. Then I'll trouble sister Karina. Boa Hancock also pretended to be familiar and affectionate. No trouble, settle down first, and I will show you around later. After finishing speaking, Karina patted the giant tiger head sea kings, this smart guy with human nature, immediately visited Kenis's island. Aboard the 9 snakes, sister, this Karina seems to have an unusual relationship with Lei Luo, definitely not an ordinary boss-secretary relationship. Marigold, the third of the 3 Gorgon sisters, with a fat body and a little naive mind, said in a low voice. Boa Hancock has, speechless, written all over his face, what do you say? Do you think the concubine can't see it? Rather than saying that Karina was receiving them as the vice president or secretary of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce just now, it would be better to say that she was receiving them as the hostess. Sandersonia, the second child of the shrewd Gorgon sisters, also came up together. Sister, this Lei Luo has obviously misbehaved. You are the most beautiful woman in the world and the Empress of 9 Snake Island, how can you marry such a man? If you want me to say, he is not your true destiny at all. If you're not afraid of the celestial dragons just because we're not afraid of the celestial dragons, then you don't have to. We've been here for so many years. Before Sandersonia finished speaking, Hancock made a stop gesture, and then said, you said it too, we have been here for so many years. 9 Snake Island is in the calm belt surrounded by sea kings. We know how to anger the sea kings and turn them into a moat to protect us when the enemy forces attack. If we are really only afraid of celestial dragons, why does the concubine have to travel thousands of miles to ask for marriage? Advertisement. Is my sister really in love with this armed scourge Lei Luo? Sandersonia asked. Hancock frowned lightly. I don't know, but if I want to marry in this life, I think there is no better choice than Lei Luo. Sandersonia and Marigold looked at each other, and both read the same meaning from each other's eyes. It's over, my sister really fell in love with that man. Marigold took out the big knife that he carried with him. I understand what my sister wants, don't worry, I will kill that Karina tonight, and I will never let my sister and another woman die. People marry together. Shut up. Hancock and Sandersonia snapped almost simultaneously. The third child of the Gorgon sisters, Marigold, was originally a very smart and clever girl, but because of the zone cobra fruit and the experience of being enslaved, she became very reckless and stupid. This has always been a headache for the 2 sisters. Are you crazy? This is the White Paper Flower Sea territory, and that woman is the vice chairman. Killing him is no different from killing a vice captain. Are you trying to make 9 snakes an enemy of a 4 emperors regiment? Sandersonia snapped. Hancock waved his hand. Don't say such things in the future, and don't have such thoughts anymore. Granny Nu said that love is tolerance and giving. If you want to marry Lei Luo, you must first learn those 2 things. Marigold nodded, feeling that what his sister said made sense. Sandersonia, who is quick-witted, was speechless for a while. If Granny Nu knew that you had misinterpreted her like this, she would definitely beat you with a snake stick, despite you being the queen of Daughter Island. Let's go. Follow Vice President Karina. Sisters, we have to stay in the White Paper Flower Sea for a while longer. Yes. Boa Hancock gave an order, and immediately someone drove 2 swimming snakes to catch up with Karina's giant tiger-headed sea kings. Karina arranges for the 9 snake pirates to temporarily station on Gorgon Island in the White Paper Flower Sea area. This island is very close to the core Nessus Island, and it is a material within the territorial waters of the White Paper Flower. One of the storage points, you don't have to worry about eating and drinking, and the name of the island matches the 3 Gorgon sisters very well. However, only the common crew of the 9 snake pirates were stationed here, and the 3 Gorgon sisters live directly in a separate hospital on Nessus Island arranged by Karina. The 4 women go shopping and have a meal together from time to time. Sandersonia, who is the finance minister of her daughter country, also asks Karina for business skills many times. The 4 of them seem to be no different from real sisters. The only downside is that Lei Luo, who is practicing in seclusion, has not seen any movement for a long time, and the temporary residence time of the 9 snake pirates in the territorial waters of Beizihua is also in a state of infinite delay. About 10 days later, outside the Fishman Island in the 10,000-meter deep sea, a singing ship slowly arrived on the current. Master Katakuri, the Fishman Island is ahead. The light baron, who was covered in eggshells and held a cup of hot coffee on his head, pointed to the huge glowing bubble in the distance and said, "It is hard to imagine that there is light in the dark deep sea below 10,000 meters. It is from the Fishman Island that the light shines. Because the giant tree, Yangshu Eve, growing near the Fishman Island can transmit the sunlight from the ground to the Fishman Island, the Fishman Island located in the deep sea will also have changes of sunlight and starry night. Local residents even describe this phenomenon as the grace of the sun. And that huge bubble is the protective cover that protects the Fishman Island from being destroyed by the strong pressure under the 10,000-meter deep sea. Even if you are far away, you can barely see the huge double-layer semicircular bubble film shield surrounding the entire island, and there is an air layer used as a buffer between the 2 layers of shields." Katakuri held the long spear, Earth Dragon, in his hand, a scarlet red appeared in his eyes, and he looked at the Fishman Island in the distance, and Haki, who had been tempered to the ultimate look, slowly unfolded. Haki has already reached the pinnacle of his knowledge, looking for the root of knowledge and seeing through the gate of time and space in the future. In a moment, the redness in Katakuri's eyes dissipated, and he said coldly, "Start the boat and crash in." The tortoise fruit ability user Pokemus at the side couldn't help exclaiming, "Master Katakuri." The bubble on the Fishman Island is the protection facility of the Fishman Island. If the boat breaks directly into the Fishman Island, the coating will be forcibly stripped off and merged with the shield on the island, and the boat will pass through the middle. It falls to the ground when it is in the air layer. Even if it successfully breaks through the shield, it will still be washed away by the seawater protection in the shield. I said, "Crash in." Katakuri said coldly, he has seen the future. The Fishman Island will inevitably be destroyed under the strangling of the Big Mom pirates. Yes. In an instant, the huge ship cut through the waves and slammed into the island. Advertisement. Chapter 111. Give the heads of the white paper flowers to Lei Luo, please subscribe. Advertisement. The huge singing ship crashed into the huge bubble of the Fishman Island in an instant, but did not make a single sound. I saw the huge bubble tremble slightly, and the coating on the ship was swallowed by the huge bubble at a speed visible to the naked eye. In just a few breaths, the ship broke through the blockage and entered between the 2 huge bubbles. Air buffer area between. Losing the protection of the coated bubbles and the buoyancy of the sea water, the gigantic singing ship lost weight instantly and quickly fell downwards. Master Katakuri, the boat is about to fall. Pokemus yelled hastily. Katakuri did not panic at all, and took out the bubble coral that he had prepared earlier. This bubble coral is a specialty of the Fishman Island, and it can quickly create extremely resilient bubbles. This special bubble can even swim in the sky of the Fishman Island. With Katakuri's hands together, a huge bubble instantly formed and floated to the outside bubble wall. It was at this time that Katakuri's arm became thicker and longer at an extremely fast speed, and stretched out. Covered with a layer of dark and deep armament haki, he is a paramesha glutinous rice fruit capable person. His body can be transformed into glutinous rice, which can theoretically expand infinitely. The glutinous rice fist that covered Armament Haki swung out brazenly, directly hit the giant bubble, and hit the outer bubble wall. The huge bubble made of bubble coral was pushed by the punch to collide with the outer bubble wall, absorbed by phagocytosis at an extremely fast speed. Katakuri took advantage of the short breath time, used the huge bubble as a buffer point, established a force point on the bubble wall, and drove the entire ship with the help of strong reverse thrust, strongly changed the falling direction, and directly crashed into it. Inside the bubble wall. The double-layer bubble wall that destroyed countless ships trying to enter the Fishman Island was forcefully breached by Katakuri in this short period of time. The huge ship crashed into the inner bubble, fell from the sky, and landed directly on the sea surface of the Fishman Island, creating hundreds of feet of waves. We came in. Pokemus took off the sunglasses on his face in disbelief, revealing a pair of small eyes, full of disbelief and shock. This is coming in. Baron Faint, like Pokemus, couldn't believe the scene in front of him. It's not the first time for him and Bakmoose to come to the Fishman Island. They are the ones who bring back special snacks from the Fishman Island to BIGMOM every time. They have come to the Fishman Island so many times, and they are all well behaved. Enter the front door, dare not have a heart. After all, both of them are demon fruit power, any accident in this 10,000-meter deep sea may kill them. But both of them never expected that Katakuri, the deputy of the emperor and the leader of the 3 generals, would use such a brutal skill to break through the bubble sky moat. He really deserves to be the most valued son of his mother. The Fishman Island protection bubble, which claims to be invincible, has been breached like this. Long live Katakuri-sama, invincible. The minion soldiers on the boat also shouted, which is really incredible. I thought they would fall directly from a high altitude and fall to their deaths, but I didn't expect Mr. Katakupiao to break through the second bubble wall so easily. Everything is under the control of his old man. In the past, I heard that the casualty rate of the brothers who went on missions with Lord Katakuri was the lowest. Today, I can see the strength of this emperor's deputy and the leader of the 3 generals. For the flattery of his subordinates, Katakuri didn't care at all, and waved his hand to signal everyone to shut up. He was just recreating the future he saw with great accuracy. Anyone can do it as long as they are strong enough. Suddenly, a tyrannical aura quickly approached this side, Katakuri turned his head indifferently. The inland sea of the Fishman Island set off hundreds of feet of waves. It was impossible not to notice such a big movement. He had already as expected. The gorilla red reappeared in the eyes. It's you, Hexia Jinbei. Distract me with Murloc karate punches first, then dive in and destroy the whole ship with a sea current over your shoulder. Good strategy. But this has been seen by me. Katakuri muttered to himself, and then ordered. Everyone, adjust the muzzle, and cover the fire in a direction of 45 degrees to the southeast in 10 seconds. Yes, no one would doubt Katakuri's order at all, even if there is nothing in the direction 45 degrees to the southeast at this time. 10, 9, 8, 3, 2, 1. Boom. As soon as the 10-second countdown arrived, there was a burst of roaring artillery fire on the huge singing ship, and the scalding shells fired from the chamber accurately covered the firepower in a 45-degree direction to the southeast. As soon as the gunfire sounded, a small black spot appeared in the distance, and was instantly saturated by the fierce artillery fire. Immediately afterwards, a dark blue figure visible to the naked eye fell from midair and hit the sea. God, how did Master Katakuri know that someone was coming over there? At the speed of that guy just now, he should have been 1,000 meters away 10 seconds ago, right? This distance has already exceeded the distance that can be seen directly by the naked eye, right? Katakuri-sama is truly a man of genius, to be able to do such a thing. It is rumored that Katakuri-sama's vision haki has already reached the pinnacle and can see the future, but it has not been confirmed. Could it be that the power to see the future just now? Everyone was talking about the miraculous look of Haki, the Vice President Katakuri, but no one noticed that the red in Katakuri's eyes hadn't dissipated, and had been staring at the direction of Jinbei's fall. He said to himself again, if you fall into the sea, will you still use the current to smash the ship over your shoulder? Advertisement. That can't let you easily come into contact with water. Katakuri's legs bent sharply, and the muscles on his legs burst out with an explosive power. Katakuri jumped up on the spot, and charged towards the rapidly falling blue figure in the distance like a cannonball. The ship under the feet was crushed by this tyrannical explosive force, the bow sank, and the stern was raised high, until Katakuri jumped out, the stern fell down, and it returned to normal, and the singing ship no longer sang instead, he shouted. It hurts, it hurts. Seashaw Jinbei, you are invincible in sea battles, but what would your strength be without the protection and blessing of water? Katakuri, who had come to Jinbei in the blink of an eye, said coldly. At the same time, he stretched out the long spear in his hand, and the dark and deep armament haki leapt out on top of him. The body of the gun swept out powerfully, sweeping away thousands of troops, and instantly smashed heavily on Jinbei. Katakuri's approach was too fast and too fierce, and at this moment, Hexia Jinbei was able to react, but it was too late, and he couldn't make any effective response at all. The only thing you can do is to bless as much armament haki as possible on your body to resist Katakuri's powerful blow. Condolence. A dull bell-like sound followed, and Jinbei's fat body flew upside down in an instant, and landed on the edge of the inner sea impartially 2 seconds later. Jinbei spat out a mouthful of blood, his eyes were wide open, and his eyes were full of inconceivable expressions. Is this Katakuri, the Queen's deputy of the BIGMOM pirates? He has seen this face on the bounty notice more than once, and even clearly remembers the bounty of this guy, 1,057,000,000 Bay profit. Simply unimaginably powerful. This powerful armament haki is far above Marine Admiral in terms of strength alone. It's just, why did this B********** D suddenly attack the Fishman Island? Doesn't he know that this island is the territory of the White Paper Flower Pirates, and that this island is covered by Captain Lei Luo, an armed natural disaster? There is a saying that the general will be named first. Jinbei is planning to ask angrily, and at the same time buy more time for Neptune of Dragon Palace City, so that he can contact Lei Luo. Shua. Katakuri's long spear Earth Dragon came through the air, and also the huge glutinous rice black fist with a diameter of more than 1 meter. Jinbei's expression froze, and he rolled to dodge, however, the black fist split into two instantly as if it had eyes, completely blocking his movement, and smashed down blatantly. Boom. With a loud bang, half of the Fishman Island, which accommodated a population of 5 million, trembled 3 times. Puff. Jinbei, who was knocked to the ground, burst out a mouthful of blood, in severe pain. If not relying on the innately strong physique of the Murloc, this blow would have killed him. Jinbei's eyes widened in disbelief, even his pupils were trembling. How is this possible? This guy seems to be able to predict my movements and dodge routes. Every move was within the expectations of the other party. He seemed to be a girl with no clothes on, and Katakuri could see through it at a glance. It was only 2 moves, and they were defeated. It's really an embarrassment to Captain Lei Luo. There is such a weak captain as this old man under his command. In the next second, there was a dull sound of piercing through the air. It turned out that it was Katakuri who rushed to his side in the blink of an eye with the help of the extended Zomi arm. I am here under the order of 4 Emperors BIGMOM to buy a batch of special snacks from the Fishman Island for her old man. I also know that this is the territory of the White Paper Flower Pirates, and it is the place covered by that armed scourge Lei Luo. As soon as the words fell, Jinbei was terrified, and indescribable astonishment and shock instantly swept through his whole body. How can it be? How does this guy know what was on my mind? The 2 sentences that Katakuri said seemed to be answering questions that he wanted to ask but didn't have time to ask. Could it be that this guy can read minds like Arlong's sister Xiarli? It's incredible. 0. Ask for flowers. In fact, Katakuri doesn't know any mind-reading technique, he just sees the future, and then deals with events according to the future he sees. Katakuri continued. Your boss, Lei Luo, rejected the Charlotte family's tea party invitation. According to the rules of the tea party, those who refuse the invitation will receive a part of the body of their relatives and friends within a certain period of time. However, the cost of directly attacking the white paper flower sea is too high, so I choose you, the captain of the strongest vassal group under Lei Luo. A flash of determination flashed in Jinbei's eyes. An opponent like Katakuri is not something he can deal with at his level. It's not difficult to fight 50-50 in the sea, but on land, he can only use 100% of his strength at most. Out of 60%, it's not Katakuri's all-in-one general at all. Advertisement. Now I just hope that Neptune can get in touch with Captain Lei Luo quickly, we must buy time for them. Thinking of this, Jinbei quickly stretched out his hand towards his bosom. As long as he took the evil drug energy steroids, he would be able to squeeze his own strength immediately, and his strength would increase exponentially, which should be enough to compete with Katakuri. However, before Jinbei reached out to take out the poisonous medicine from his bosom, Katakuri's spear pierced his webbed palm fiercely. Jinbei was already seriously injured, and when he was hit again, his face suddenly turned pale. But compared to the severe pain in his body, the tremor in his heart was more unacceptable. Katakuri once again knew his actions in advance. Can he predict the future? This idea suddenly popped out of Jinbei's mind. He vaguely remembered Brother Fisher Tiger once said that in this world there is a kind of haki that has been tempered to the ultimate level, which can see through it in a short period of time. Future. 0. Could it be that Katakuri is using this power? At this time, Katakuri suddenly squatted down, reached out to touch Jinbei's pocket, took out 2 red and blue strip-shaped pills, and said coldly, I can't let you eat these things, you. Going crazy. But, thank me, these 2 pills will kill you. Hearing Katakuri's words, Jinbei's heart sank suddenly, and he became more and more convinced that Katakuri in front of him does possess a terrifying power that can see through the future. Can only hope that King Neptune takes his words seriously enough and has now contacted Captain Lei Luo. Jinbei pinned all his hopes on Neptune, and raised his eyes to the Dragon Palace city above the sky. A touch of despair gradually spread in his heart. Above the sky, countless pirates are riding coral bubbles to attack Dragon Palace above the Fishman Island. How do you know? Jinbei was interrupted by Katakuri just halfway through his speech. Katakuri, whose eyes were always electric with chimpanzee red, said coldly, how do we know how to use coral bubbles? Guess what? What Jinbei wanted to say was once again predicted by Katakuri. He was really desperate. The other party had already calculated everything, and attacked the Fishman Island and Dragon Palace city as quickly as possible. There is no hope anymore. Suddenly, a figure fell down in the air, wearing the standard armor of the Poseidon army. It was the guard of Dragon Palace city who was defeated. Gradually, more and more figures fell from midair, like stars falling from the sky. Brother Jinbei, hurry up and find Luo Tian. A clear female voice came suddenly. Katakuri and Jinbei raised their heads together, and in the distance, countless missiles flew out from the tall tower building in the center of the Fishman Island, like dense raindrops fell towards this side. Katakuri's face changed suddenly. Such intensive artillery bombardment, even if he saw it, he couldn't avoid it at all. Seeing that Katakuri was distracted, Jinbei endured the severe pain all over his body, and plunged headlong into the sea. Damn it! Seeing Jinbei escape, Katakuri gritted his teeth angrily. He has demon fruit power, why didn't he escape into the sea? Armament Haki surged out all over his body, his right arm turned into a glutinous rice cake, followed by a change, and in just a few breaths, his arm turned into a black machine gun. Tube. Wu Shuang rice cake blade bomb. In the next second, Katakuri's arm was actually spitting out flames like a machine gun, and countless bullets shot out indiscriminately, and each bullet hit the target accurately. A flying missile. Boom. With a thunderous explosion, the sky over the Fishman Island turned into a sea of flames, and shrapnel flew everywhere like rain. Katakuri looked at the tall tower building in the distance, and could vaguely see 2 flags flying on the top of the building. One was a white paper flower flag, and the other was a black background with a white rose. The skull flag crossed into an X. Lei Luo's white paper flower chamber. Hey, since Jinbei has escaped, then give your heads to Lei Luo. This is what you asked for, and you will be the one to blame. Advertisement. Chapter 112. Killing one person in 60 seconds, the powerful and arrogant Katakuri. Please subscribe. Advertisement. Looking at the tall tower-like buildings with white paper flower flags in the distance, Katakuri's legs slightly bent, his power exploded in an instant, and he jumped up, easily crossing the distance of 1 nautical mile, only 5 or 6 times in a row. After landing, he came to the door of the tall tower building. However, this building has already been emptied. No, it should be said that the entire street has been emptied. As early as when the missile bombardment was launched, the people of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce had already evacuated all the surrounding personnel and hid themselves. For members of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce who practice semi-military management and have quick response capabilities, it is more than enough to complete the retreat and evacuate the people during the time when Katakuri rushed from the inland sea to the center of the island. You can't escape. Katakuri sneered while holding his spear, and walked unhurriedly towards the 10,000 people square on the Fishman Island. Meanwhile, in Dragon Palace above the Fishman Island, the Baron Dan Dan, who was severely injured twice in a row, has turned into the third battle form. Earl Rooster slowly put away his cane and sword, and stepped on the big shark star of the 3 brothers of Poseidon Star. Not far away, Emperor Star and Crash Star also he fell to the side, dying. Earl Rooster wiped the cold sweat from his brow. Neptune, the Sea Knight, was indeed Psi, but his 3 sons were far more powerful than expected, and the combined battle formation of the 3 killed him twice. Ton. The sound of a giant smashing into the ground was heard, and at this moment, the king of the Fishman Island, Neptune, the Sea Knight, also fell in front of Pokmus with flickering arcs all over his body. Electricity allows him to easily break through Neptune's defenses. However, this guy's physical strength is too strong, causing it to take twice as long as expected. Let's go. Don't make Katakuri-sama wait, slightly. Earl Rooster said coldly, and he couldn't help but want to crow. 867, in this state. Pokmus shook his head. You take someone to escort them to the predetermined location to find Lord Katakuri, and I will leave to deal with the aftermath. The two looked at each other, and both saw the, you understand, look in each other's eyes. In half an hour, members of the BIGMOM pirates came to the People's Square of the Fishman Island under the leadership of Earl Rooster. It was not the first time for him to come to the Fishman Island, and he was very clear about the geographical layout of the Fishman Island. Master Katakuri, someone brought it. Earl Rooster came to Katakuri cautiously, he had already seen the impatient look in the latter's eyes. It seems that you have met your opponent, Danon. Katakuri said coldly. Earl Rooster looked ashamed. I did encounter some small troubles, but they have all been resolved. Then handed over a booklet with a silver cover and a white paper flower logo. This is a roster of all the members of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce in the Fishman Island, copied from the Dragon King Palace. There are a total of 132 people. Quote. Well done. Katakuri took the roster, and his scarlet eyes swept across the royals of the crowd. It was only a moment, and the future was already clear in his chest. Shout to the whole the Fishman Island, let the people from the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce come out. Kill a person every minute, starting from their royal family, and kill their ministers, soldiers, until the White Paper Flowers people come out and lead to death. Yes, the Earl of the Rooster immediately took out the radio phone bug that he had prepared a long time ago. Apparently it was not the first time he did such a thing. Listen, people from the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce, go to the square of 10,000 people to lead the dead immediately, otherwise, every minute we to kill a person, start with King Neptune, who is the most respected by the people of the Fishman Island. People from the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce listen up. With bursts of radio broadcasts, Earl Rooster's shout quickly spread throughout the Fishman Island. And the basement of the tower-like building of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce. Everyone in the White Paper Flower Merchant Guild, who was about to change clothes and escape, gathered together. Sister Yu, what to do? Sister Yu, the phone bug can't make calls, and I can't contact the boss and the others. These bastards are actually threatening the royal family of the Fishman Island. They want to force us to death. Voices of displeasure, helplessness, and bewilderment sounded one after another. Enough. With a slender figure and delicate face, with a cigarette between her fingers, a woman in her early 20s scolded coldly. She is one of the 12 subordinates of Lei Luo, and she is ordered to take full charge of all the business of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce in the Fishman Island, codenamed Windfish. Don't waste your efforts. Their ship should be equipped with mother bug level shielding phone bugs, enough to block the radio signal of the entire the Fishman Island. The other party is obviously coming prepared to target us. Let's go out and meet them. Before the words fell, voices of disapproval came out immediately. Sister Yu, are you crazy? That's Katakuri, Aunt Charlotte's queen assistant. Didn't we deliver food to people when we went? Advertisement. There was determination in Yingyu's eyes. You all still remember the declaration when you joined the Chamber of Commerce, and you are always ready to die for boss Lei Luo. I haven't forgotten what kind of ghostly life I lived before joining the White Paper Flower. Lei Luo, the old Yamato White Paper Flower Merchant Society gave us everything. Now, it's time for us to repay the favor. They threatened the royal family of the Fishman Island, and shouted to the whole the Fishman Island, asking us to go out to lead them to death. In terms of force, we are not their opponents, but if we don't go, the white paper will be spent in the world. The reputation of the Fishman Island is rotten, and everyone will think that our arrival has harmed them, and it's right in Katakuri's arms. So, we have no choice. After the words fell, Yingyu began to hide high-purity explosives in his clothes. The weight is not large, but it is more than enough to kill 2 people. Killing 1 to save money, killing 2 to earn 1. But even if we go out and let them kill them, they won't let the royal family go. Then we. A voice suddenly came from the corner, but Yingyu interrupted him before he finished speaking. Then we will die in vain. Yingyu shook his head. Don't you understand? The life and death of those royal families has nothing to do with us. We went to our deaths to preserve the reputation of the Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce in front of the people of the Fishman Island. There is still half a sentence that Yingyu has not said. The world of those who win the hearts of the people, Katakuri and those people should kill all the royal family of the Fishman Island after they go out. If they lose the hearts of the people, even if they capture the what about Fishman Island? The voice fell, and no one questioned them anymore. More than 100 people threw away all their weapons in unison, and only hid enough explosives to kill 2 people in their clothes. At this time, in the 10,000 people square of the Fishman Island, the star of the 3 brothers of Poseidon looked at the ocean knight Neptune. Father, what should we do? The person with the white paper flower may have already slipped away. Neptune sighed. Even if they didn't slip away, don't expect them to stand up for us. The 2 sides are in a cooperative and mutually beneficial relationship. Hey, Lei Luo's banner is better than Beishui after all. Quote. I can't shake people. In Neptune's view, Jinbei made an extremely stupid decision this time. Isn't it good to continue to be 7 warlords of the sea? If you insist on taking sides with Lei Luo, even Whitebeard is dead, what use is a brat in his early 20s? Sure enough, Lei Luo's flag brought disaster to the Fishman Island. Earl Rooster, who was checking the time, looked at Katakuri. Master Katakuri, 1 minute is up. Kill. Katakuri spat out a word coldly. There was a shrewd gleam in the scarlet eyes. After today, Lei Luo's white paper flowers would definitely lose their reputation. Although no one has appeared on the Fishman Island, what is certain is that there are thousands of eyes staring at this place. It would be best if people with white paper flowers don't come, just to completely ruin Lei Luo's reputation. In this way, the Fishman Island will also be included in the international territory of BIGMOM pirates, the specialty dessert of the Fishman Island. Mom can eat as much as she wants. As for the gift for Lei Luo, the heads of these Murloc royals are the same. It will even be better than white paper flowers on everyone's heads, or it will directly trigger the breakup between the Sun Pirates, the Fishman Island and Lei Luo. This island has a capacity of 5 million people. Losing this Fishman Island with a population of 5 million will definitely hurt Lei Luo's vitality. At that time, would he dare to refuse the tea party invitation from the Charlotte family? The Rooster Earl drew out his cane sword without hesitation, covered Armament Haki's right leg and kicked the Sea Knight Neptune over. The black cane sword blade slashed towards Neptune's neck. But in the next second, clang. There was a sound like gold and iron clashing, and a bone-like short dart instantly shattered Earl Rooster's crutch sword. Clear Haki, a womanly voice came from afar. Katakuri. My mother is here. Yingyu strode over from the edge of the square, followed by 131 members of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce, and took the most arrogant steps to die generously. There were only 100 people in the district, and they walked out of a black army of 10,000 people. The momentum of the clouds pressing down on the city. Neptune, who was still saying that the white paper flower would not come out more than 10 seconds ago, was stunned for a moment. He didn't expect that these young people under Lei Luo would really stand up for them the Fishman Island. But so what? The other party is Katakuri, the king's assistant of BIGMOM pirates, and among them, Shiraichihua, only Yingyu can manage 2 hands with Jinbei. Katakuri's big mouth wrapped in a scarf showed a sneer, and he felt a little bit of admiration for the shrimp soldiers and crab generals with white paper flowers in his heart. They are kind. Let these Murlocs go. We'll do as you please. Yingyu shouted coldly. Katakuri's eyes were scarlet, and he smiled strangely. It's because you are working under Lei Luo, so naive. A sneer twitched at the corner of Yingyu's mouth, with determination in his eyes. Who the hell is naive? The voice sounded, and Yingyu pulled the lead wire on his body without hesitation, and at the same time stomped on the ground with both feet, rushing towards Katakuri with the help of explosive and tyrannical reverse thrust. This is one of the Marine 6 styles shaving. I learned it from Marine. The White Paper Flower Merchant Association spent so much money to fix Marine's joints. The money was not for nothing. The 131 people behind Yingyu also pulled the fuse in unison, and rushed towards the BIGMOM pirates like crazy hungry wolves, each determined, not afraid of death. But in the next second, the expressions of the Beizihua 132 people headed by Yingyu changed completely, from determination to astonishment, to unexpectedness of the situation in front of them. Advertisement. Mobile glutinous rice balls. Katakuri stood still, but the ground under his feet suddenly became soft, and immediately sank in as soon as he stepped out, as if stepping into a soft and sticky glutinous rice cake. Turning the object it touches into something of the same nature as itself, this is the terrifying ability only possessed by the Devil Fruit Awakened. In the next moment, the soft and sticky rice cake ground surged like a wave, turning into a soft but unbreakable wall of glutinous rice that enveloped all the white paper flowers. Boom, boom. The fuses of the bombs on the Beizihua people also burned to the end, exploding one after another. The flames shot up into the sky, and flesh and blood flew everywhere. Of course you are naive. At my level, bombs are useless. And I have seen all your actions. Katakuri's eyes are always glowing scarlet, which shows that Haki, who can see through the future, has never faded. The awakening Nuo Fruit's ability was suddenly absorbed, and the soft ground became solid again, and the moment Katakuri withdrew the Devil Fruit ability, the winning fish with sharp bone spurs spun rapidly and smashed towards Katakuri. Katakuri shook his head and laughed. The pitch-black armament Haki leapt over the long spear Earth Dragon, stabbing out fiercely, and the spinning figure of the winning fish suddenly stagnated. Puff! The sharp tip of the spear plunged into Yingyu's body in an instant, pierced through the chest with precision, pierced the heart, and pointed upwards to lift Yingyu's slender body high. The dripping blood splattered on Katakuri's face. I said it all. I have seen your actions. Yingyu held onto the gun of the spear, the Earth Dragon, and the bone spurs on his body were constantly retracting. With the loss of vitality, Devil Fruit's ability also disappeared. Boss Lei Luo will not let you go, yours. Katakuri flicked the spear in his hand, and threw Yingyu to the ground. Lei Luo. There are only 2 roads ahead of him. Either join the Charlotte family or die in the sea of white paper flowers. Perhaps it won't be long before your boss Lei Luo will come down to accompany you. The long spear was raised high, and the blade of the gun fell down instantly, PFF'd. Blood splatter. Heads down. Count the number of people and send all their heads to Leda. N. Yes. Earl Rooster stepped forward. Master Katakuri, what should we do with these Murlocs? One day later, the coating was refinished, and a large singing ship with hundreds of tons of the Fishman Island specialty snacks and white paper flowers, 132 people, and 4 members of the mermaid royal family, a total of 136 heads, came from the Fishman Island swaggered away from the main entrance. Brother Pei Ross and Mundle have already set off from Cake Island. You go to meet him first, and follow his command. Clear. Master Katakuri, since you want to destroy Ryugu Castle, why don't you destroy the Fishman Island together? Pokemoose. Is the aftermath done? Katakuri sneered. Mom likes the snacks here. Destroy the white paper flowers and the highest authority of the Fishman Island. When you come back next time, this island will be our territory. Also give the head to Lei Luo. This matter will be handled by you and Pokemoose, but before that, go to the factory workshop on the Fishman Island and bring the snacks back to Mom. Yes. Pokemoose pulls out a detonator remote, that's called aftermath. Ready to start? Katakuri asked suddenly. 17. I've already reported the result of this raid to my mother. You two have contributed a lot. When you get back to the surface, you will go and give this gift to Lei Luo. Pokemoose asked puzzled. Yes. Katakuri pointed to the packed heads. Kill. Katakuri nodded, and Pokemoose pressed down without hesitation, only to see that in the huge bubble, the dragon palace above the Fishman Island suddenly turned into a sea of flames, and the huge building weightlessly faced to the Fishman Island below. The Fishman Island fell down. Advertisement. Chapter 113. Who gave you the courage to come to my sea area to act wildly? Please subscribe. Advertisement. 5 days later, the white paper flower sea area, Ness's Island in the hinterland. Karina and Boa Hancock were taking a walk by the sea. Behind them, Silver Fox, Black Owl, Marigold and Sandersonia followed from afar. Is Captain Lei Luo still practicing? Hancock asked. Karina nodded helplessly. That's right, that guy spends his days in the training room and doesn't care about anything. It's been more than half a month since I saw Lei Luo. It's strange to think about him, but think about it. In the past, it was common to see no one for several months, so what is more than half a month? If Sister Karina feels that she is too busy with things, she might as well teach Kishen. They are good sisters, and Kishen can help you share it. Boa Hancock smiled slyly. Karina is also puffing Ichiraku. Are you trying to help me share the burden? It is clear that you want to overwhelm the host and occupy the magpie's nest, and you have no good intentions. However, this is not the first time that Karina has heard such words from Hancock. Although the relationship between the two of them is obviously much closer after getting along with each other during this period of time, it is always inevitable that you will try and I will make a soft knife. Wow. Just when Karina was about to go back, a huge wave suddenly rose above the calm sea in the distance, and the gazes of several women froze together and scanned the past. This is the ship of the BIGMOM pirates. A hint of astonishment and shock flashed in Karina's beautiful eyes. The strange shape with bright colors and the distinctive feature of being able to sing made her recognize it at a glance. I thought it was Xiaohu who was playing mischievously in the sea again, but I never thought it was the ship of the BIGMOM pirates. How dare these bastards go directly to the hinterland of the white paper flower sea? The boat is coated with film, obviously it has dived all the way from the bottom of the sea. Entering without asking, this can already be counted as an invasion. But why did Katsuyu, the territorial sea under the sea, not warn? What is the leader of the 8th squad, the shark Murloc Namur, doing? Isn't the seabed his jurisdiction? Karina has always been shrewd and capable. After a brief moment of astonishment and surprise, she immediately came back to her senses, and without hesitation took out the bright silver phone bug that was designed to contact Lei Luo in an emergency from her handbag. The other party obviously came prepared, but he was also a member of BIGMOM, one of the 4 emperors. Any contact between the 4 emperors would cause an uproar in the Sea of New World. This incident was beyond her ability to handle. 04 level up. At this time, Lei Luo must be invited to come forward. The phone bug was connected, and Lei Luo's unhappy voice came from the other end, as if he was interrupted by someone rashly when he was in the midst of high spirits. What's the matter? Use this phone bug to call me. Karina reported quickly and clearly. A coated ship of the BIGMOM pirates suddenly broke into the hinterland of our territorial waters. There was no notification of any kind. The purpose is unknown. It seems to be infiltrated. The other party came by a coated boat, and the territorial sea Katsuyu on the bottom of the sea is completely invalid. The captain of the 8th team, Namur, did not send back the news in time. The current situation is unknown. Hearing Karina's report, Lei Luo frowned in the dark practice room. I expected that the old lady Charlotte would not let it go, but I didn't expect that she would directly send someone to break into the hinterland of the white paper flower territory sea. Does this old woman want to fight him directly? Oh, then let's fight. I'll come over right away. You first inform Marco, Ace, the twin ghosts, and the 3 demons, and go to the pier immediately. If the other party has any misconduct, immediately kill it on the spot. Yes. After hanging up the phone bug, Lei Luo slowly put away the Armament Haki, which was as thin as a cicada's wings, covered the 4 walls of the practice room, and the dark and deep Armament Haki, the dark practice room suddenly reappeared in light. The extremely cold and murderous aura instantly filled the entire room, and the temperature in this space seemed to drop several degrees because of it. A cold light flashed in Lei Luo's eyes. Does Aunt Charlotte really think that he, the new emperor, is a soft persimmon? Do you want to break into the white paper flower sea area? Very good. Now that he broke in, let's stay forever. It's not the first time he has done such a thing as sending heads to the 4 emperors' regiment. When he did it for the first time, he was not 4 emperors. Here on the pier, just as Karina hung up the phone, she immediately put her white and slender fingers into her mouth, and blew out a sharp and long whistle. Duck. On the sea surface far away, suddenly the waves surged, and the giant tiger-headed sea kings, which was sleeping and resting on the bottom of the sea, came out fiercely, swam to the coastal pier quickly, and stared at the uninvited guests from the BIGMOM pirates. Karina then contacted Marco and the others. At the same time, the pirates on Ness's island also reacted one after another. Dozens of warships lined up. In less than a minute, the firepower calibration was completed, and they all pointed at the meeting ship. The big singing ship, just waiting for an order from above, can fire at any time. Such a quick response is the result of Lei Luo's copying the semi-military management system of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce to the management model of the White Paper Flower Pirates. The pirates under the White Paper Flower Pirates enjoy a high degree of freedom. The only thing is, if there is a war, they must organize their forces as quickly as possible, wait for orders, and attack at any time. Puff 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 puff. It was also at this time that the singing pirate ship gradually approached, and there was a strange laughter from the ship, as if there was a big tongue in its mouth, even the laughter was indistinct. Charlotte Tepa Ross Perot came to meet Captain Lei Luo of the 4 Emperors, and also asked Captain Lei Luo to have a good time. Advertisement. Perot is holding a lollipop cane, stepping on the side of the boat with one foot, the unique long tongue of the long tongue tribe drools, standing on the bow of the boat with an extremely arrogant attitude. This come on, this is to represent the BIGMOM pirates to be arrogant. Crazy. A loud cry suddenly resounded through the entire sea, and the blue phoenix with wings spread dozens of feet flew over at an extremely fast speed, and landed on a pirate ship of the vassal group. Hey Ross Perot. You breaking into the White Paper Flower Sea area for no reason, do you want to fight on behalf of BIGMOM and the White Paper Flower? Marco couldn't help but put a big hat on. After all, he was the captain of Whitebeard's first team. He knows far more than Karina about how to deal with pirates and how to deal with the situation in front of him. Almost at the same time, above the surface of the sea far away, a huge blazing white fireball rushed towards it at an extremely fast speed. White mist rose from the sea surface where it passed. News from Karina, the captain of the second team, Ace Huaquan, who rushed over. Ace accepted Marco's fault, and yelled at Ross Perot in a cold voice. You BIGMOM pirates don't understand the rules, and you need me to teach you. Don't talk nonsense to them. Boss Lei Luo said that anyone who dares to commit crimes will be punished, take it first and then deal with it. Two loud, cold and stern voices came from Ness's island, followed by Akin the Ghost and Rudolph the Ghost rushed to the coastal pier at a very fast speed, standing on the left and right of Karina. The boss of Lei Luo is not here, respect the head of Karina big sister. Then Laozi will take the lead. Joining Captain Lei Luo has not achieved an inch of success. This first achievement, my mountain demon bullet won. On the sea in the far distance, a warship with a bow shaped like a ghost face relief came quickly, and standing on the bow was the mountain demon bullet who had just come under the command of Lei Luo not long ago. On the left is the white-haired blood demon Dracula in medieval European aristocratic clothing, and on the right is a huge figure covered in a cloak, over 3 meters tall, half a head taller than Bullet, and 1.5 wider than Bullet times, just standing there gives people a strong sense of visual oppression. All the 3 demons have been killed. Marco is on the left, Ace is on the right, and the 3 demons are behind. Dozens of warships, Karina, the twin ghosts and others are directly in front of them, surrounded by Ross Perot, an uninvited guest. Standing next to Karina, Boa Hancock, the queen of pirates, was filled with uncontrollable astonishment and shock. Marco, Ace, the double ghosts. Are these the top combat power of the White Paper Flower Pirates? It seems that if you pull anyone out, you can face her, the pirate queen, head on. There is also the reaction speed of these pirates under Lei Luo. It took less than a minute for Karina to make a phone call, and all the pirates have already reached a siege against Ross Perot. How terrifying is this reaction speed? It is comparable to the army. But these people are obviously pirates. Wait, is that guy Douglas Bullet, the heir of the devil? The one rescued by Blackbeard. Such a fierce man also joined Lei Luo's command. Hiss. Boa Hancock sucked in the salty sea breeze. It turned out that what she had seen all along was Lei Luo's personal strength. She never thought that Lei Luo had so many high-end combat powers under his command. Not to mention Marco and Ace, besides the double ghosts that knock the door, the 3 oars on the ghost-faced ship far away are also very strong. In addition to the double ghosts that knock the door and the 10 ghosts inherited from Whitebeard. Apart from a few captains, Lei Luo has so many strong generals under her command, which she never expected. Seeing the pirate queen Boa Hancock beside her was trembling slightly in shock, Karina secretly smiled inappropriately. If she knew that what she saw in front of her was only a small part of Lei Luo's real military power and high-end combat power, she wouldn't know how surprised will this pirate empress be. And on the singing pirate ship, Perot on the bow is beating drums in his heart. He expected to be surrounded by Lei Luo's subordinates, but he never expected to be surrounded so quickly. Are these still pirates? Responses are as fast as marine. Especially when he recognized the devil's heir Douglas Bullet, Ross Perot actually had a feeling of doubting his life. Did even this fierce man take refuge in Lei Luo? Whitebeard entrusted him with an orphan, his mother wanted to license Jia Lei to him, and Bullet joined him. What is the charm of this new queen to be brother-in-law? However, Perot Ross quickly calmed down after a short period of stunned and shocked. The mocking eyes fell on Marco who spoke first. Ha ha ha, Marco, I don't think you should look at it that way. I, Charlotte Tepa Ross Perot, are the envoys of BIGMOM. I'm here to meet Captain Lei Luo. Are you sure you want to attack me? You, the captain of the first team of the White Paper Flower Pirates, took action against me, the diplomat of the BIGMOM pirates. Have you figured out who is going to take the initiative to start a war with whom? Puff 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 puff. Perot stood at the bow of the boat, laughing in an extremely arrogant manner, his contemptuous eyes swept across the faces of the people surrounding him one by one. Long tongue B asterisk 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 D, don't be crazy, figure out where you are now. Fire Fist Ace stepped on the rocket ship, and suddenly an incandescent fireball popped out of his hand, which rose in the wind, and became larger at a speed visible to the naked eye, as if he was holding a round of dazzling scorching sun in his hand. Insulting the four emperors' envoy is tantamount to insulting the four emperors themselves. Fire Fist boy, I advise you to think clearly before speaking. Ross Perot sneered, saying he was crazy. Crazy. Go straight to the sea of white paper flowers and shake the BIGMOM pirates. The prestige of the regiment is very insolent. But there will be more crazy things later. This time it's a big gift for Lei Luo. There are 132 people with white paper flowers, and 4 people from the mermaid royal family, a total of 136 heads. I think this big gift is enough to make the new emperor Lei Luo behave. Advertisement. Come to think of it, after today, Lei Luo, the prospective brother-in-law, should become a regular. As long as this guy's mind is not caught by the door, he will never refuse the Charlotte family's invitation again. If the forces in the sea are getting bigger, there are only a few of them. The undead Kaido of the beasts and Lei Luo are mortal enemies. This guy not only gave Governor Kaido the head, but also repelled Kaido under the watchful eyes of everyone, and swept the face of his old 4 emperors. The root of the contradiction. This is not adjustable. The red-haired Shanks who has always had an ambiguous attitude. Anyone with a normal mind would not cooperate with him, because this guy never made it clear that the risk of cooperating with him is too high, Lei Luo. Be wise, of course not. That is, only BIGMOM and Marine are left. According to gossip in the sea, in the Whitebeard extermination battle, Luo not only beat Garp and Sengoku, 2 living legendaries. He even pierced the loot bone of the alternate Admiral Momoshiki, tied the meat tickets of Marine Admiral Akainu and the alternate Admiral T-Pork, and extorted ransom from the world government. Although the exact amount is unknown, but the conflict between him and Marine is absolutely irreconcilable. As a result, Lei Luo can only rely on the BIGMOM family. If he offends the BIGMOM family to death, Lei Luo will have only enemies left in this sea. Could Lei Luo, a cunning businessman, be so stupid? Obviously not. Then, there is only one path left before him, accept his mother's invitation, 403 marry Sister Garrett, and join the Charlotte family. This time, my mother sent him out to persuade Lei Luo on behalf of the BIGMOM pirates and the Charlotte family with an absolutely strong attitude, and let him bow his head and listen obediently. Arrange. So, for this Zhang, he not only wants weapons, but also big weapons. And the more arrogant he is, the safer he is. The Karina fans on the coastal pier clenched their fists tightly. The mere envoy dared to be so arrogant, not paying attention to Lei Luo's respect at all. This can already be characterized as a battle for the white paper flower pirates. Hey Ross Perot, I don't know where you got the confidence to show your prestige in the land of white paper flowers, but if you dare to disrespect my emperor Lei Luo again, I guarantee that you will not be able to get out of the sea of white paper flowers. Karina scolded in a cold voice. Before she could finish her sentence, there was a sound of clanging weapons unsheathed. Lei Luo's boss was not there, and with Karina Big Sister's head as his respect, her attitude represented Lei Luo. Boss Luo, Captain Lei Luo's attitude. Ross Perot smiled strangely. Who am I to speak so loudly? It turns out that I am the vice president of Karina. We represent 4 emperors BIGMOM, and we want to meet 4 emperors Lei Luo. Who are you? Okay, I won't argue with you. I am the envoy of BIGMOM. If 4 emperors BIGMOM comes in person, you and I are not equal. Where is Captain 4 emperors Lei Luo? Or, your Captain Lei Luo just acts like ABCH, hiding behind women. You. Karina's almond-shaped eyes were wide open, and the anger seemed to burst out of her eyes. Insulting Lei Luo made her feel worse than insulting herself. 010305104 Philu 103. Pei Ross Perot waved his hand, the 19th son of the Charlotte family Shushu fruit ability Monder, Fur tribe tortoise fruit ability Pokmas, faint fruit ability user Dandan Baron. Stand up together. In the next second, several people directly ignored Karina and the crowd surrounding the singing ship, and the sound waves of mountains and tsunami swept up. Charlotte Tepa Ross Perot, the diplomatic envoy under the command of Charlotte Linlin, the queen of Toto land in the 10,000 seas, has come to meet Captain Lei Luo of the 4 emperors and present a generous gift. The 19th son of the Charlotte family, Xi's minister Mondor, came to meet Captain Lei Luo of the 4 emperors, and sent an invitation to the Charlotte family tea party. Big Mom Pirates combatant Pokmas, Baron Faint, come to meet Captain Lei Luo of 4 emperors, and send a letter of challenge. Seeing the arrogance of Aunt Charlotte's subordinates to such an extent, Bullet's breath sank and he exhaled loudly, noisy. Is Charlotte old woman off the leash? Let your beast run and bark. Bullet's voice was like a thunderclap, instantly dispelling the sound waves of the mountains and tsunami. Let everyone slightly startled. At this time, da da da. The dull and light footsteps sounded slowly from the island of Nessus. Although the sound of each step was so soft, it reached everyone's ears extremely clearly, giving people a feeling of an extremely dull feeling. Even dare to break into my territory, who gave you the courage? The sound sounded, and the cold, chilling, and tyrannical breath swept across the entire sea in an instant. Advertisement. Chapter 114. The armed giant blade that cuts through the sky. Please subscribe. Advertisement. The cold, murderous, and tyrannical aura came over like a mountain, and Pei Ross's face turned pale instantly, and cold sweat oozes from his back, forehead, and tip of his nose instantly. Although he tore off his mother's tiger skin, he is too soft a fox after all. Faced with this powerful aura that is overwhelming like a mountain, he is about to reveal his original shape. Not long ago, Lei Luo would not die with a single punch. The scene of Kaido of the beast's vomiting blood kept flashing in my mind. I always feel that the aura on Lei Luo's body is several times stronger than when he fought Kaido before. Is it an illusion? Definitely is. No matter how talented and evil Lei Luo is, it is impossible for him to become so much stronger in just 10 days. It must be because his aura was mainly colliding with Kaido when he fought against Kaido before, and what he felt on the viewing platform that day was just the power, so there is such a big gap. Pei Luo racked his brains and finally found a reason to convince himself. Compared with him, who has seen how powerful Lei Luo is, the guys behind him who have never seen Lei Luo's strength, such as Monder, Baron Faint, and Pokmas, have trembling legs and knees. If it wasn't for the fact that Lei Luo's aura was directly directed at Pei Ross, they would have been crushed to their knees by this terrifying aura. Damn it, this guy's aura is on par with Mom's Conqueror's Haki. He's only in his early 20s, how can he be so strong? The 19th son of the Charlotte family, dressed in a skeleton outfit, has a long nose with red wine lees, and looks like a circus horror clown. No, to be precise, it should be comparable to the terrifying aura of my mother when her cravings broke out. It's unbelievable that a person who doesn't even have conquerors can have such a domineering aura. Pokmas and Baron Dan even showed astonishment and horror on their faces. This terrifying aura seemed to awaken the greatest fear in their hearts. Just being shrouded in a small amount of aura exuded by Lei Luo reminded them of the scene of sacrificing their souls to their mother when they first joined the BIGMOM pirates. This is the armed natural disaster Lei Luo. As expected of the new emperor who offers a reward of 3 billion belly. Goo, a scary guy on the same level as Mom. Pokmas and Baron Faint looked at each other, and they both saw the overwhelming fear in each other's eyes. Facing Lei Luo was like facing a mother in a rage. Seeing that the four of them were about to kneel down under the pressure of Lei Luo, but the cold, chilling, and tyrannical aura continued to erupt. Lei Luo who came to Karina's tyrannical aura continued to crush Ross Perot and the others, while Karina took a half step back obediently and stood behind Lei Luo. Aside, Boa Hancock felt a little sour in his heart. This guy actually treats such a beautiful concubine as heir. Lei Luo looked coldly at the singing pirate ship on the opposite side, and said coldly, "It broke into my waters for no reason. I don't have anything to say today. I'm afraid you can only go to see Ant in the form of a corpse." Following Lei Luo's words, there was a brief silence on the singing pirate ship. Suddenly, hey 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 hey, ha 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 ha. Suddenly, there was a low laughter on the pirate ship from the Big Mom pirates. Immediately afterwards, the laughter became louder and louder, but it was full of a sense of ridicule. Captain Lei Luo is very imposing. I hope you will maintain your aura for a while. One day, you will understand that the gap between you and your mother is still far away. Dazzling purple brilliance burst out from Ross's exaggerated candy hat, spreading layer by layer, directly meeting Lei Luo's tyrannical aura. The four of them felt relaxed for a while, but the feeling of fear in their hearts kept surging, as if they had walked in front of the gate of hell. Fortunately, my mother has the foresight to give this special life card. Ross Perot took out a palm-sized card from the candy hat, and the dazzling purple brilliance burst out from the card. Common's life card is made of human hair, nails and other parts, and will guide the person holding the life card to find the original owner. And this special life card uses not only Charlotte Linlin's hair and nails, but also part of her soul and the powerful Conqueror's Haki, which is strengthened with the ability of soul fruit and sealed in the life card. To put it bluntly, this life card is a low-profile version of the main body homies. Except that it cannot directly launch an offensive, its essence is no different from Prometheus, Zeus, and Napoleon with the bicorn. On the one hand, it is stronger than those three main body homies. It is equivalent to giving Perot a life-saving talisman. This is also why Perot dared to shake the prestige of the BIGMOM pirates in the White Paper Flower Sea. This guy Perot has conquerors too. Advertisement. Lei Luo couldn't help but raise his eyebrows, and there was a bit of interest in his eyes. No, it's not Perot's breath. Is it Charlotte's mother? Lei Luo suddenly remembered the scene in the original Book of Pirates, where the little thief cat Nami holds the life card of Charlotte's mother to control the battle with King Homizbom. The life card of Big Mom, a soul fruit capable user, is fundamentally different from other people's life cards. With a plan in mind, Lei Luo's aura output was twice as strong, rolling towards Ross Perot like a rolling wave. However, that purple's dazzling brilliance became more and more dazzling, forcibly blocking his tyrannical aura. Ross Perot let out a long breath. Captain Lei Luo, I advise you not to waste your efforts. Today, I, Charlotte Ross Perot, represent the Charlotte family and present an invitation to the Charlotte family tea party for Captain Lei Luo. Letter. And a marriage invitation. Invite 4 Emperor's armed scourge Lei Luo and I, Charlotte, the 18th daughter of the Charlotte family, to be married. The life-saving talisman given by my mother worked, and Pei Ross, a fox in tiger skin, became more and more arrogant and bold, and took out the invitation letter he had prepared earlier, wrist twist. The invitation letter flew in front of Lei Luo like a dart breaking through the wind, and it was nailed into the stone pillar of the pier. If you look closely, you will find that the corner of the invitation letter nailed into the stone pillar is covered with a layer of hard steel candy coating. Captain Lei Luo, this is not the first time you have declined the invitation of the Charlotte family. This is unprecedented in the history of the Charlotte family. But I can't help it. Mother, an old man, would like you as a son-in-law. I have tolerated you several times, and I am determined to marry the most beautiful daughter to you. I love you so much, and my kindness is as heavy as a mountain. I also hope that Captain Lei Luo will not be ungrateful and disappoint his mother's kindness. Karina behind Lei Luo was so angry that she clenched her fists. At this time, Ross Perot on the bow suddenly changed the topic. If Captain Lei Luo refuses his mother's kindness. Crack. Pei Ross clapped his hands, and Monder immediately stepped forward, spread his hands, and created a book out of thin air in his hands, singing in a low voice. Library. The book in his hand suddenly became larger, the pages unfolded, and with a sound of ton, a huge square lump of ice fell out. He is a bookman who ate the fruit of Paramesha books. In addition to being the cheese minister of the Toto Land Kingdom in the Sea of All Nations, he is also the clerk of the BIGMOM pirates. This move of the library is his famous stunt. He creates a physical space in the book and locks the target in the space. The creatures locked in the book will never grow old, and the ice stored in the book will never grow old. Cool down. Ross Perot's long tongue licked the lollipop cane, the thick syrup stuck to the huge ice cubes, he picked it up easily, and with a fierce wave of his hand, the huge ice cubes shot towards Lei Luo immediately go. Boom. With a dull muffled sound, the ice cube fell to Lei Luo's feet and shattered instantly. Frozen, the lifelike human head tumbles down 10,010305104 Philu 103,573,391. In the next second, Karina lowered her voice subconsciously, but then called out a little, "Win the fish." The eyes of Ghost Mannequin and Ghost Eye Rudolph also shrank slightly. They all knew Ying Yu, one of the 12 members. Ever since the business of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce moved to New World, Ying Yu was sent by the head of Karina Big Sister. The Fishmen Island, fully responsible for the business of the branch of the Fishmen Island White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce. Looking at the other heads, they are all familiar faces, 132 heads, all employees of the Fishmen Island White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce branch. The remaining 4. Det. Karina unconsciously took a breath of the cold air. She personally did it when she went to the Fishmen Island to plant the flag, and she handed over the staff roster of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce to Neptune, the Great Knight of the Sea. She recognized these 4 heads as a matter of course, they were King Neptune and the 3 brothers of Star Poseidon. Damn Charlotte, she attacked the Fishmen Island. Puff 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 puff. Perot flicked his long tongue, and his arrogant voice sounded. According to the usual rules of the Charlotte family tea party, those who refuse the tea party will receive a part of the body of their loved ones after a period of time. You probably don't know, these subordinates of yours are completely loyal to you, but they are a bit stupid. They actually attacked Katakuri with bombs all over their bodies. In order for you to meet these subordinates again, Katakuri also took great pains. If he hadn't wrapped the heads of these people with glutinous rice, tisk tisk, Katakuri would have been blown to pieces. Monder on the side also sneered and chimed in. Captain Lei Luo, your mother really loves you without saying anything, just give you a little slap. You should know how to advance and retreat, otherwise, you can bear F-sharp of mother's anger. If you continue to be proud of favors and refuse the invitation of the Charlotte family, you will receive nothing like this. Advertisement. Monder's eyes swept over the twin ghosts, the 3 demons, Marco, Ace and even Karina, the threat is self-evident. Lei Luo narrowed his eyes and glanced at the more than 130 heads, his face was as cold as iron in an instant, and Karina and Boa Hancock behind them all took a step back subconsciously. In their senses, Lei Luo at this time was like a volcano on the verge of eruption. You are courting death. In the next second, an incomparably tyrannical and destructive terrifying aura erupted outrageously. Boom. The arrogant expressions on the faces of Pei Ross, Perot and Monder brothers froze in an instant, and then, stabbed. With a piercing sound, Perot's eyes widened instantly, big and round. Goo. Mom's special life card, broken. Armed natural disaster. Lei Luo's aura overwhelmed his mother. Although the soul on this life card is only a small part of the mother's soul, it is also the soul of 4 emperors Big Mom Charlotte Linlin. Her coercion and vigor are no different from her own. Perot just came back to his senses when he suddenly felt an armament haki full of anger. The surrounding space seemed to freeze. Lost the life-saving talisman given by my mother, and then faced with violent rage. Lei Luo, Pei Ross Perot was instantly persuaded, but he didn't even have time to say the words of confession. Lei Luo's eyes were fixed, and the terrifying extreme armament haki swept directly towards Ross Perot. In the shocking eyes of everyone, with Lei Luo himself as the center, a powerful armed storm swept across. And the next moment, Lei Luo's armament haki formed a black and deep-armed giant blade in the air, and slashed towards Ross Perot. At this moment, Perot's hairs stood on end, and an extremely terrifying sense of crisis came to his mind. Driven by Haki, Zhao Zhao Hao, and his fighting instinct for many years. Ross Perot's long tongue quickly licked the lollipop cane, trying to turn the syrup into a shield, but it was too late. In just a split second, the armed eye blade that fell from the head split Ross Perot in half from the middle of the body like a hot knife cutting butter. Brother pay Ross Perot, quick, flash. Mondor resisted the feeling of fear that the hair stood on end and the heart trembled, and shouted loudly, but there was no time at all. Watch as the eldest son of the Charlotte family, Charlotte Tepa Ross Perot, is cut in half. Blood splattered, and the two halves of the body fell limply like two pieces of pork. Under all kinds of horror, Mondor's eyes widened, his pupils trembled violently, and his face was astonished, Cao Quan's expression. Dead, dead, dead. Brother Pei Ross is dead. How dare this guy Lei Luo? How dare? The eldest brother is the eldest son of the Charlotte family, how dare Lei Luo kill him? Seeing the gift from his mother, shouldn't he bow his head? This is different from what he imagined. Living in the Four Emperors family and growing up in the 10,000 Kingdoms, Montour, who believed that the Charlotte family was invincible, completely lost his ability to think, and his mind went blank. Baron Feint and Poké Music were also stunned on the spot as if struck by lightning, daring to kill someone from the Charlotte family. This is the first time they have encountered them after working for BIGMOM for so many years. The one who killed was the eldest son of the Charlotte family. Is the new emperor really not afraid of going to war with his mother? In the fear of the three people, that dark as sin, armed giant blade as deep as an abyss reappeared. 010305104 Philu 103,573,391. Attack with the whole army and wipe out the BIGMOOM pirates. Double. The tyrannical roar sounded again, making the hearts of the remaining three feel icy cold. Advertisement. Chapter 115. The world is shocked, the two Four Emperors pirate groups are in full swing. Please subscribe. Advertisement. Looking at the giant armed blade that was beheaded, Montour reacted at the critical moment, unfolded the book in his hand, and wanted to lock this terrifying attack into the world of books, but he obviously underestimated the power of the giant armed blade. Just for a moment, an unparalleled strong suction burst out from the book, and the armed giant blade was instantly loaded into it. But in the next second, the book swelled up a circle, like a balloon that was about to burst when it was inflated enough. Montour fell to his knees in an instant, with his hands on the sky, desperately outputting devil fruit ability, trying to maintain the stability of the world in the book, but it was in vain. Lei Luo, you can't kill me. You are against the entire BIGMOM pirates, you are just a new emperor. Boom. The books exploded like bombs, and scraps of paper flew all over the sky. This is impossible. Mondor's eyes were full of disbelief. The space in the world in the book is infinite, how could it be destroyed from the inside out? But he didn't have time to find the answer at all. The moment the book exploded, a tyrannical armed tornado swept up. Like a piece of meat thrown into a meat grinder, Mondor was attacked by an armed tornado, leaving only a pool of rotten meat in place in an instant, and his fate was 100 times more miserable than that of Perot. Oops. Seeing the two sons of BIGMOM die in front of his eyes one after another, Pokmus retracted his head and limbs into the shell instinctively under extreme horror. He is a turtle fruit capable person, and the turtle shell on his back is strong enough to withstand 100 tons of force. He won so easily in the Fishman Island against Neptune, the great knight of the sea, thanks to the turtle shell. But Pokmus didn't have time to breathe a sigh of relief at all, he only heard a clang sound like gold and iron clashing, and the turtle shell on his back was instantly shattered. Without the protection of the tortoise shell, Pokmus couldn't bear the armed storm like a meat grinder even more. After the storm swept past, there was another pool of fried meat on the deck. How come Pokemus turtle shell is so vulnerable? Baron Dan's eyes widened in disbelief, and his heart suddenly tightened as if being held by a pair of invisible hands. As Pokemus' long-term partner, he knows how powerful Pokemus' shell defense is, and even blocked his mother's initial attack of cravings. Such a strong defense would be shattered in front of Lei Luo's weird and domineering attack. In extreme horror, Baron Dan quickly came to his senses and was about to run. He is a long-legged man. Apart from sword skills, he is also good at kicking and running. But in the face of the tyrannical and domineering armed tornado that swept over, all the innate advantages of the race lost their use. He was overtaken by the armed tornado in an instant, and the eggshells on his body were smashed together with the flesh and blood of his body. The strange thing is that 800 batch egg yolks appeared in the smashed flesh and blood. A user with the egg fruit ability can evolve to the next combat form at the moment of being killed, which is equivalent to having several lives. The faint Baron was shattered, and the Chick Viscount took shape instantly, but all the bells and whistles were equally powerless and useless in the face of the absolutely crushing armed storm. The newly formed Viscount Chick was smashed again before it even had time to move. This feeling is like throwing an egg into a grinder. When the eggshell is broken, a chick will be hatched instantly, but the chick will also be crushed instantly. Uncle Rooster. Jun. The next battle form didn't have time to change at all. Under the strong sweep of the armed storm, he could only watch helplessly as one life after another was consumed. 1 second, 2 seconds. The 4 transformation forms of Gong, Hu, Bo, and Z only bought him a short 2 seconds. He died in the final battle form of Duke. Broken egg liquid. Less than 10 seconds. The 4 cadres of the BIGMOM pirates are all wiped out. Boa Hancock, the pirate queen behind Lei Luo, covered her mouth with her white hands in shock. This guy Lei Luo is getting more and more terrifying. Compared with the Whitebeard extermination campaign, Lei Luo has become much stronger. She knows several members of the singing pirate ship BIGMOM Pirates Cadres, and even fought with the Baron Fendan. The strange transformation and resurrection ability once caused her a lot of trouble. But under Lei Luo's domineering armed color, any fancy devil fruit abilities are futile. Pork Moose with a bounty of 330 million Baileys, Baron Faint with a bounty of 429 million Baileys, Aunt Charlotte's two sons, Minister of Candy and Minister of Cheese were all killed in an instant. Boa Hancock asked from the bottom of her heart, except for the Faint Baron, she could win the battle against the other three, but it was absolutely impossible to resolve the battle as quickly and forcefully as Lei Luo. No, this cannot be called a battle at all, it should be called a one-sided purge. The four people on BIGMOM's side were powerless to struggle at all. Too fast. Fast and strong. Between lightning and flint, like thunder and thunder, it will wipe out all the demons and evil spirits in the world. If she could still comment on Lei Luo as a senior during the Whitebeard extermination campaign, then now, Lei Luo has become a peak she can only look up to. Is this the real ultimate? On the ghost-faced warship, Bullet, the current leader of the three monsters, looked AEFC at the scene in front of him incredulously, with his mouth slightly open, his eyes dazed and fiery. He could clearly feel that compared to when he was defeated before, the Armament Haki of Lei Luo's boss had risen several levels. Armament Haki can also improve so fast, it's unbelievable. As the man who tempered Armament Haki to Ultimate, Bullet knew very clearly how difficult it is to upgrade Armament Haki. Every time you improve, even if it is just a small level of improvement, it needs years of accumulation and tempering, especially in the late stage of his approaching the real ultimate. Advertisement. Not to mention raising a small level, it is extremely difficult to move forward even a little bit. Stuck on a bottleneck for more than 10 years, no, decades is not surprising. It is no exaggeration to say that compared to the level improvement of Armament Haki, the difficulty of developing Devil Fruit is not worth mentioning at all. But Captain Lei Luo managed to set a new record in such a short period of time. Really amazing. The nearly 3-meter-long body trembled intermittently, and even Bullet himself didn't realize how rapid and chaotic his breathing was at the moment. The tyrannical Armament Haki that turned into a giant blade in the air. The tyrannical Armament Haki swept across like a storm, swept and crushed everything. This is the ultimate weapon color of boss Lei Luo. The real ultimate he Douglas Bullet wanted his whole life. At this moment, Bullet is very grateful that Lei Luo has taken him under his command. The real ultimate of Armament Haki, let alone the pursuit, just watching Lei Luo's moves is of great benefit to his understanding of Armament Haki. The thought in Bullet's heart became extremely firm. If you want to achieve the real ultimate weapon, you can only follow Lei Luo. Attack with the whole army and destroy the BIGMOOM pirates. Lei Luo roared loudly, and the tyrannical roar sounded again. Bullet, Ace and others moved after hearing the sound, bombarded and charged, killing all the creatures and homies on this singing pirate ship in just a few minutes. Kill. The singing pirate ship seemed to be killed, completely quiet, and fell into dead silence. Captain, the arrival of the BIGMOM pirates has been completely wiped out. Ace came to Lei Luo, bowed his head and said very respectfully. And the task prompt in front of Lei Luo also jumped out of Dwang. Open black lens bracket. Congratulations to host for completing the mission and eliminating the invading BIGMOM pirates. Reward for the mission. Attribute points plus 120 close black lens bracket. Mission reminder. If you are the king, you will expand the territory and completely defeat the BIGMOM pirates. Mission reward. Attribute points plus 2000. This mission is a long-term mission. Close black lens bracket. Lei Luo glanced at it. 1000 attribute points. Aunt Charlotte, God will kill you. Since the wind is blowing, the BIGMOM pirates will be destroyed from now on. Lei Luo's eyes flickered coldly. He opened the system interface, and used up all 120 attribute points. Name. Lei Luo. Age. 24 years old. Strength. Admiral. Armament Haki level. Extreme Armament. Absolute Domain 249 10,000ths. You have broken through the pinnacle. Achieve the ultimate. The road to become stronger is endless. Continue to move towards the new ultimate. Attribute point balance. 0. Armed skills. Hot Fist. Thunder Roar. Gain buff. None. Mission 1. If you are the king, you must defeat Garp the Fist, the strongest owner of Armament Haki recognized in the world. Mission reward. Armament technique Case Mountain Iron Fist. This mission is a long-term one. Exclamation mark. Task 2. Carrying it with you and adapting to the magnetic field of radioactive substances and pure gold will bring continuous improvement to the host, with daily attribute points plus 1. This task is a daily task. The scorching heat instantly swept through the whole body, every inch of bone was filled with heat, and the feeling of fullness in the bones doubled again. I can clearly feel that my control over Armament Haki has reached a new level. If it was said that before the Armament Haki that extended outside the body could be compressed as thin as a cicada's wing, then Lei Luo now has full confidence in extending it to the Armament Haki outside the body is pressed as thin as a hair. And the destructive power, toughness and strength will not be reduced in the slightest. The increase of 120 attribute points is so terrifying. If he can destroy the BIGMOM pirates and get an increase of 2000 attribute points, then he should be able to control Armament Haki's form changes freely. At that time, one's own combat power will grow exponentially. The strongest in the world is just around the corner. Lei Luo was completely immersed in the changes brought about by the further promotion of Armament Haki, but the faces of Ace, Marco and others around him changed visible to the naked eye. Goo. Marco the Phoenix swallowed unconsciously, and the aura of Captain Lei Luo became stronger again. This feeling is so clear. After all, he is the strength of the Emperor's deputy level, but the terrifying and powerful aura that leaked from the invisible made him feel like he was about to bow his knees. Standing beside Lei Luo is like standing in front of a high mountain, it's too depressing. Bullet, who had just cleaned up the corpses on the boat, was stunned. This can clearly feel that compared to before the attack, the strength of Lei Luo's boss has risen by a notch. This is too fast to be believed. Could it be that the boss of Lei Luo has hidden his strength before? Is this his true strength? Even if it was Bullet, the former pirate King Roger's crew member, the top pirate who had seen the world, the ultimate powerhouse couldn't help but gasp, recalling the scene just now. Advertisement. The armed giant blade that pierces the sky, that powerful armed storm that sweeps everything is not really the boss of Lei Luo. Is it true strength? Even with Papa Whitebeard, he has never seen an armed color that can turn into black storms. Is this still an armed color? After leaving the body, shouldn't the armed color disappear slowly? How could it stay in the air for so long? And formed a series of tiny black blades that swept into a small storm. Even the three top powerhouses of the Big Mom pirates were crushed instantly. A strong sense of disbelief swept over his body, and Bullet didn't really realize how short-sighted he was, like a frog sitting at the bottom of a well until now. How crude and superficial he thinks Ultimate is. Unprecedentedly, he has been shaken by the pursuit of Ultimate. After all, he is already old, and he dare not expect that the attainment on Armament Haki can be as strong as that of Lei Luo, even if it is only from Lei Luo. If you learn a little bit of Ultimate, you will have no regrets in this life. Lei Luo closes the system interface and exits from immersive mode. With a flick of the arm, Armament Haki stretches out from the dark and deep extreme realm. A flexible, pitch-black armed tentacle hooks the ship of the BIGMOM pirates. Drag it over. Then he picked up the human head on the ground and threw it on the boat. Ace. Lei Luo shouted. Ace understood immediately, and a white flame burst out, instantly igniting the entire ship. Ascension to heaven. Lei Luo said goodbye in a deep voice. Brothers, please take a step first, please rest in peace. I, Lei Luo, will definitely repay this revenge 1,000 times to Big Mom. Today, I killed Mother Charlotte's 4 dogs first, but I know that the lives of dogs are not worth your lives. Quote exclamation mark quote. Everyone keep your eyes open and watch from the sky, watching the day when Lousy uprooted BIGMOM and the Charlotte family. It was not in vain for you to follow me, Lei Luo. Heroic spirits go on a crane, and reach the paradise of paradise early. An extremely dignified atmosphere spread in the venue, and everyone's emotions were extremely heavy and depressed because of Lei Luo's farewell words, as if they urgently needed 10 outlets to vent them out. Same. In the next second, Lei Luo suddenly changed the topic. Brothers. I said it when I took over the pirates. Wolves travel thousands of miles to eat meat, dogs travel thousands of miles to eat shit. Dogs eat shit because they don't have temper. A wolf eats meat because it has a temper. We don't cause trouble, but we don't fear trouble either. If you dare to come to our white paper flowers to cause trouble, we will pay back 1,000 times. Until no one dares to break ground on our heads. The sound of thunder roar's blessing roared loudly, even the sea water was shaken up, as if the atmosphere was trembling, and just a few words mobilized the emotions of the pirates present. Ultimate. Whoever dares to offend my white paper flower will be punished for the crime. He will be punished even if he is far away, he will be punished even if he is strong, and he will be punished if he comes. Lei Luo paused for a while, and then said, Charlotte killed our brother, ruined our scene, and wanted to step on us. What should we do? Kill, kill, kill. Before the words were finished, there was a burst of shouts like a mountain roar and a tsunami on the coastal pier. The extremely solemn and murderous air seemed to condense into a dark cloud over the crowd, and even the seabirds. Don't dare to fly under this sky. Lei Luo's eyes were fixed. What he wanted was the powerful spirit of killing heaven and earth. He yelled in a deep voice. Today, the Order, the Mountain Demon Bullet, the Blood Demon Dracula, and the Twin Demon Hofteman brothers are the Arrow Vanguards, and they choose 3 vassal regiments to set off immediately. Mark, the BIGMOM pirates of the seas of all nations. 3 demons lead the order. Marco, Ace, Josie, Ian, Vista, Izan, Fosa, Jingudo, Harda, Lakyo. Lei Luo called out 10 captains in one breath. Among them, Ian is the new captain of the 4th team, the deputy and disciple of the original 4th team captain Saki, Zone Longlonguo ancient species Shuan. Raptor form demon fruit power. Exist. 10 voices neatly. Each lead their own teams, with a total of 1,000 combat elites. Each chooses reinforcements from the remaining 53 vassal regiments. The 60,000 troops will follow the 3 monsters. There are a total of 34 islands in the Sea of Nations, and I want you to take them all in one go. Anyone who dares to stop my revenge army will die. Yes, Lei Luo. Little ones. The battle has begun. Kill without mercy. Roar. Advertisement.